You could call me Jude. Jude Laurent if you really want to know. But that's no longer my name. When all this started, I was nothing more than a broken husk of a man, one who thought all hope wasn't necessarily lost, but confined to an infernal blade held within my hand. I was the executioner as the walls of Azmarin came tumbling down. My actions caused pain and strife across the land, and I had to atone for that however I could. But how can you right such wrongs when there's nothing but corrupted crimson and hellfire within your veins? I didn't have the answer to that damned question. But then I met three who proved to me that even the darkest of hearts can be healed. That when all is lost, hope can still be found. You just might have to eat some pancakes to really see it, though. Fuck, this hurts. Thank you. Thank you all for believing in me. You are the reason that I can proudly say that I am, and always will be, Aegon Delavan, son of Captain Darius Delavan, proud paladin of Azmarin. May Erathis shine her light on you. And I'll see you soon.
My name is Tyrion Curiadis, and I don't have much time left. My shield has fallen, and so have I. And as I feel my light dim, I leave this memory ribbon for my love, Charlotte Elise Westwood Curiadis. Charlie, I love you. I'm sorry. I can see you now so close, and yet I cannot reach you. And I know you'll be okay, you have to be okay, but still I wish I could hold your hand one last time. Charlie, I love you, and I always will. It's never my place to tell you how to feel, but I always hated seeing you cry. So I hope you think of the happy times, my darling wife. Think of the firefly, the moments of quiet love we shared, the way we danced at our wedding. Honour me with your memories, whether in smiles or tears. Remember the knowledge that I saved from the fires. Remember how I stood by my friends and protected them from harm. Remember how I fought against insurmountable odds for the salvation of our home. And remember how I loved you with all that I had. Do this and I am never truly gone. Charlie, we knew we never had forever, but the time we had filled my life with a love and joy that I never thought possible. I'm sorry, my love, I have to go now. Stand strong. Though the bells will ring, remember that there is always hope.
Well, I guess this is it. My name was Briar, but I don't think anyone will ever call me that ever again. I am the Reaper. The Reaper who failed. Sure, I guess Azmarin made it. It didn't all burn down. But it's just, we did all this work. For what? What do we have to show for all that we lost? A city where bodies litter the streets. Tyrion's soul stolen. How could anyone be proud of this mess? I let everyone down. Najwa told me that my job was to protect the balance of life and death, to keep the devils from slaughtering everyone. And I tried, but I failed. So, hang it all. Let Theo sit on this throne he didn't earn. He doesn't need me around to know that he'll be surrounded every day by the souls of the people he abandoned. In fact, no one really needs me here. It'll be just like before. I'll be alone and forgotten. Except now it's worse because now I deserve to be. Once I make sure that Aegon and Charlie are, well, as okay as they can be, then I guess I'm gonna go. I just want to go where the nightmares might stop. I just want to feel free. Azmarin was never my home, and now it never can be. For me, it will only ever be a graveyard.
My name is Charlotte Elise, and I am writing a new story. I have been through hell, forged by an unforgiving fire, and the pages of the tale that I hoped to one day tell are ashes in the wind. I once swore a vow of pacifism. I stayed true to that vow through hardship after hardship. I lost my first love, and then my mother, and then who I hoped would be my last love. I thought my belief in those around me would make me stronger than the forces that threatened our world. But in the end, I was wrong. It only ever made me weak. If I had not held such lofty ideals, Tyrion would still be alive. I will never wash his blood from my hands, but I can do my part to rid the world of the corruption that remains. Tyrion, I know you wouldn't approve of what I've become, the methods I now employ. Maybe, if you were still here, if I hadn't failed you, it wouldn't have to be this way. But there's no point to what ifs anymore, no point in fantasizing about what might have been. There is only now. I have to live in this world without you, which is its own kind of hell. So I have decided to repay the favor. I have sworn a new vow, that until my last undying breath, I will avenge you. I will forge a new path forward, and those responsible for your fate, they will learn the true meaning of suffering.
What up, y'all? Let me get some music. Hold on, I'll share my screen with y'all. Y'all are so
Camille, did you update the web captioners there?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I got real excited. We'll get there. Today, hold on. Today is the epilogue. Let me change it to, here we go. While I get y'all's web captioners, because I have never done this before, it's fine. Anything anybody want to start off with?
What the fuck was that?
Why do we all
got
just want to hurt each
questions.
other?
I need more tissues.
I got a honey bun.
It's better than tissues.
The hell?
Oh, actually, for those, I don't know if everybody was on the call when we switched to Open Dyslexic for our font to try it out for today.
Ooh, did I change mine? I think maybe I did.
Because I didn't change mine yet.
While she does that, I'm gonna tell you what happened last episode.
Yeah,
we died.
CB.
That's it.
That's the whole thing.
I didn't write any notes last week because last week was just about focusing on that damn fight. It was a long fight, and at the end of it, I mean, we don't know what happens after, but we're gonna find out now. But one of us is for sure gone for good, and at the end, Charlie had to make a decision between raising Briar or Aegon, And what decision she made, we will find out. But can I get some F's in chat for, the most badass celestial book nerd daddy who we will always stand, Mr. Teddy and Curiadis.
Okay, I think is mine. There we go.
Also, your name is now Teddy and Carrie Otis, apparently. So
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Happens.
Name.
Done on his tombstone.
That's what's on his tombstone. Last week we had the final battle.
I was on the bench.
Oh my god.
And in it, Tyrion's soul was sucked up into Arrhenius' sword.
No big deal.
And it became pretty clear that he was not going to be revivified. The way this epilogue is going to work is going to be a little bit more of a conversation than roleplay as we kind of wrap up these stories. So I'll go ahead and describe what happens at the end of that battle. The room is flooded, and the massive pit fiend takes out 20, 30, 40, 50 people, but at the end, thanks to Hellbreaker and Theo, Azmarin is liberated. The city is saved. The devils are sent back to where they come from. And in those final moments, as Charlie looks in her hands and tries to discern, looks at the few diamonds in her hands and tries to pick between Aegon and Briar, she ultimately goes to Briar first and raises Briar from the dead. However, this is not the end for Aegon. Because even though Charlie doesn't have enough diamonds, the crown does. And for his service, for his dedication, for his loyalty to the crown, Theo is more than happy to donate the amount of diamonds for the spell Raise Dead, which is a ritual spell performed by Charlie. Charlie, do you wait to bury Tyrion before or after you raise Aegon?
If we get the diamonds, because Theo has the diamonds, I mean, I know there's like devils to clear out or whatever. I guess it would depend on how long. No, I think we would probably raise Aegon. I think regardless first.
So the ceremony proceeds with Briar, Charlie, Hellbreaker, many of the people that Aegon helped to train for this resurrection, all giving to the ritual what little they have left, whether it be spells or words or flowers or their weapons, and an offering. And Aegon, in that darkness that you reside in for those 24 hours, what do you see? What goes through your mind as you slip into the void?
Honestly, if it was like a TV scene, like a movie scene, you would have seen him wake up in like a dark area, unsure where he is. Perhaps he took a nap or something. But he would see a door in front of him with like the outline. You see the light coming from the other side through the cracks. And he would step through it and he would see a past he never thought he'd see again or be in again, as he realizes that it's him younger with Darius and Marilla. And a resigned acceptance and happiness that he at least gets to be with his family again. Until that shit's yoinked away. But,
Yes, you reside in this limbo for too long and yet not long enough, as you feel a painful breath fill you where you had normally not needed to breathe. You draw in that ashen air, and you wake up. Where would you have done this ritual, Charlie?
I imagine I guess it kind of depends on how everything went with the taking back of the castle. I mean, I'd want to do it somewhere safe. Top choice would be somewhere in the castle, if it's safe.
It's safe.
Otherwise, okay, then yeah.
You wake in the throne room. Surrounded by everybody except for Tyrion.
Wait, everyone?
What?
Everyone?
Who are you asking?
I'm asking. Nobody. I just need a ship to sail, please.
Yes. Specifically. Specifically, I'm so sorry.
I don't know where she's going to do with this.
Yes, Leona's there.
The Lady of Mystery.
X is there. They look a little worn, a little ragged, as if they've spent days, months in a prison cell, but there they are, kneeling next to you, brushing the hair out of your face.
I mean, honestly, it would be as if Aegon saw a ghost, because he would definitely jump and be very confused, but realize what happened, not knowing that he died, probably died, not knowing how long it's been since he's died. It's a question. Not understanding any of that, but he would honestly, the saddest thing, he would see Charlie, he would see X, he would probably see Briar, see his dad, and then he'd start crying because this is too much. Probably, close to X as he tries to get up, but yeah, it's just a lot. I think he's carried a lot of weight on his shoulder, and I know people like role playing this out, but I'm just like thinking, just speaking at what he would do. I'm not about to role play crying, no, he. I just hope that. I hope it was all worth it. I think it was, but.
The city is freed. The devils are gone. It will take some time to rebuild, but at least now we have the chance. The next event is the burial of Tyrion Curiadis. Charlie, do you have anything that you would like to be said about this?
I think it's. Is there are there like burial sites in the city?
There's a graveyard in the city.
So I imagine we would have it there since this was his home. Our home. I don't think Charlie speaks at the burial.
Theo does. He gives a thoughtful and, dare say, heartbroken speech about the loss of one of Azmarin's brightest.
What does that sound like?
Fuck you. Not right now. I'll record it. I'll record it for Patreon.
There we go. He's like, I deserve this.
I'll record it for Patreon and for you, Derek.
I've been learning from Fate's Chosen. I'm sorry.
Shut up.
I will say that, not then, but he would talk to Theo eventually. Because for him to, I was say Jude, no longer his name, in Aegon's eyes, for him to do what he did to not necessarily cause this mess, but be a cause of this mess and come back, and for Tyrion to lose so much and still lose himself isn't fair. Therefore, if he has to go on a crusade into the hells, Aegon will, to go get that sword back.
Funny you should mention that. Briar? Do you, how is Briar handling all of this?
I mean, not well. I think that Briar... I don't think Briar really knows what to do with herself. Trying to stay close to Charlie, but sensing that Charlie is in a place that Briar can't access emotionally. And just probably for the first... Because Briar's had a lot of bullshit happen to her, but is probably truly angry for the first time. With herself primarily. With Theo, with the situation, just with all of it. So.
Do either one of you, Aegon or Briar, share your plans with each other or your ideas about a crusade to the hells?
I think however close he is with Briar, he has a feeling that she would need some space for a second, but eventually would probably hopefully find her in her clock tower. And I mean, obviously I would say there's a little bit of emotion that needs to get out, because they lost a lot, they've been through a lot, but they survived, and survivor's guilt is the worst. Especially because they're the two who died and came back. I think it's also pretty fair to say that both of them are pretty unkillable, so the fact that they did get killed and came back is a lot in itself. But he would eventually tell her that he has to go find him, and he doesn't know what her plans are, but he would eventually tell her.
Well, we probably would have had to have discussed it, I think, because Briar's the only one who actually knows that happened. Yeah. So I think
that's true. You're correct. You're totally correct. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm just saying, like, that makes sense that once we kind of gave each other space, came back together, started having this discussion, Briar would have mentioned, like, this might be a long shot, but this is what I saw. So it's maybe kind of a deal.
And on top of that, he would, with the knowledge that something happened and knowing that his soul went downward. Luckily, he knows someone very well who has survived hell and literally came back.
Speaking of Hellbreaker, in the carnage of the final battle, it's hard to know who survived and who didn't. And Hellbreaker approaches Aegon and Briar carefully. Each of you have a letter. He speaks in his graveled, broken voice. These were left with Dave, but he did not make it. I found these for you. And he'll give each of you a letter, addressed in a very familiar, beautiful script that you know to be Tyrion.
Wrapped in a memory ribbon.
Tyrion, who would you like to start with?
Aegon, my friend. It was my greatest honor to know you as two men. Both I would call my friend. One I would call family. It was a privilege to stand by your side in battle, and though I know not what today will hold, I owe my life to you in more ways than I could ever count. Thank you for the love and care you have shown Charlie. Keep an eye on her, and keep her safe when I cannot. I love you, my friend. Stand with pride and rest now. I hope that you, more than anything, can find peace. Through hellfire, you found your path to redemption. Rest your sword, weary warrior. Your battle is won. Tyrion Curiadis. Briar.
I honestly, Briar's not going to read that letter yet.
Okay.
If you still want to perform it, I'll take my headphones out, but Briar is not ready to read this letter.
That's fine. If she does touch the memory ribbon, it will say, it won't have anything. Aegon's will have a series of memories and the collection of, him officiating the wedding and, again, fighting side by side in battle. Briar's is just Tyrion going, I taught you how to read for a reason.
Woof. Yeah. I'm going to take my headphones out so everybody else can enjoy this letter. And
Okay.
just give me a thumbs up.
You got it. Briar, dearest Briar, you were the greatest of us. Your power is so infinite and incredible, and yet is made small by the potential of your love. You may be the Reaper, but you will always be Briar, and I am so very proud of you. Know that my home will always be open to you. A bed, books, sandwiches, a warm hearth. You will never want or need for anything again. Please watch over Charlie. She has been asked to do the same for you. Briar, you are my family, and you will always be my family. Never give up hope, my dearest friend. Times may seem dark, but that, my dear Briar, is where you thrive. Embrace that darkness and use it. I will always believe in you.
And Charlie, how long does it take you to go home?
Go home.
The home you shared with Tyrion.
Like, how long after?
The battle.
Oh. I think at least until the burial. This music is making me feel things. But I think probably after the burial, like immediately after. I go back.
As you enter the home that you once shared with your husband, you look around and notice its emptiness. You find yourself standing in the doorway of the bedroom, and you see that not everything is the same as you left it that morning, before the sun was even up. The book at your bedside table has something in it, something larger than a bookmark.
I'll sit on the bed and open it.
And again, there's a memory ribbon and a letter and a single white and gold feather. Charlotte, Elise Westwood Curiadis, Charlie, my dearest love, my wife. Again, my words fail me. How can I ever say goodbye to you? It's an impossible thing for me, because I will never truly leave you. Charlie, your love saved me in more ways than I will ever be able to tell you. Try not to feel guilt over my loss, my love. I know you did all I could, and I will always love you for that. My dearest, one thing I've always known about you is the immense strength you have within. The love and care you have is one thing, but deeper than that is a storm, Charlotte. My love, never forget who you are, for I fear that if that storm is ever unleashed, no one will survive. Never forget to love, and I hope more than anything that you are able to love again, but I know it will take time. All I ask is that you remember me. Care for Moira. She will always watch over you and never leave your side. And look after Briar and Aegon. They will need you as much as you need them. Until we meet again, my love.
So, I think the first few times I read it, it's me just reading it almost like I'm reading a book. And then the fourth or fifth time, I am sobbing. And I think she falls asleep crying, reading that letter, reading his last words to her, and being angry and not believing some of what he says. But wanting to.
Now, Minnie and Chris, I know that you two have discussed some things that Briar and Charlie's and Charlotte's epilogue for the next little while is a little commingled. Would y'all like to describe what Briar and Charlie do over the next, I would say, little while? Years? Few years?
So, do you all actually make a trip to the house? And do you tell me about it before we skip to that? Before we skip to...
Yeah, we should get that out of the way.
So I think, and this is a conversation I think after I've had the conversation with Aegon, that this is something that we want to do and that we think we can do. I think after, it would take some time. It would honestly probably be a couple of weeks before I even bring it up. Just because Briar, I as a player, but Briar cannot even fathom what it must be going on in your house right now. So is trying to make herself available, but really does not have the capacity to be with you in this moment. Probably after a few weeks, like 2-3 weeks, we'll come to you and say, as hard of a conversation as it would be, like, so here's the thing. Normally, that Briar can see these people and that Tyrion should be here, but I can't show you Tyrion because this is what happened when everything was going down. Explain to you that Aegon, and I would imagine probably have Aegon there too, just because I don't know if Briar wants to have this conversation alone and needs the backup, the emotional backup. So if you wanted to be present, Aegon, I would say that this would be a conversation we all three could have and just say, you know, it's a long shot. It might be impossible, but if we work towards it over some period of time, we might be able to go down there and get him.
She is in agreement, but I don't think she wants to wait.
So this is where Hellbreaker will come in, assuming that Aegon goes to speak to him. Hellbreaker will make it very clear that at the ability level that you three are at, even together, he has an idea of probably where Tyrion is being kept. And it would... not all of you would make it out alive if you were able to rescue him. And he very gently asks if Tyrion would want you to risk your lives for him at this point, after everything that you've made it through so far. But he says that if you do decide to go, that he will go with you.
That's out of the question because Aegon's not risking his father. Not you know, but like
Fuck Tyrion.
he's like, the fuck Tyrion.
Here's what you said. No.
No.
I mean, at that information, honestly, I would just let that simmer for a moment and kind of tug Charlie and pull you down closer. And just...
I can't lose both of you.
She will reluctantly agree that maybe now is not the best time. But I do think she notes that if they're not strong enough now, then she at least needs to get stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Because Charlie, you notice that your magic is not what it once was.
Nope.
You find yourself unable to cast. After you raised Aegon, even the simplest spells, next to impossible.
I would imagine it felt trying for even that casting, especially since it was a little bit of time after the adrenaline wore off. But I feel like even cantrips are out of the question after Tyrion's buried.
The rest of you might watch as Charlie seems to grow... No. As Charlie seems to grow a little more sorrowful. And seems to almost fade in color and brightness. And Charlie, one day, you're approached by a mysterious figure. Pale skin. Brilliant white flash of a smile. And they offer you the power and the time to do what needs to be done.
I'll make a new vow.
And so even though your abilities may be lost, you gain new ones. A new pact.
Oh, I went one way, and you said
we
no.
weaved. A lot of bitterness in my soul.
I thought she was going Paladin of Vengeance. I didn't think she was going Warlock.
Yeah, same.
Holy
Same.
fuck.
I thought Tempest Cleric, Paladin of Vengeance.
No.
I stand. I guess when
I'm
it known
conflicted.
that, well, you're dead, so.
Yeah.
XOXO.
That XO got me.
But I just wanted to know that Aegon isn't perceptive, but he's not incapable of seeing the truth, especially knowing this person who has been one of the kindest, sweetest. Though she can hand it to your ass like a church mother when she's cast sending on you. Like if you get a sending from Charlie, you fucked up. Probably, but he can tell that something's different. He doesn't know what. But he would 100% find her afterwards and later on, and just like before the wedding happened, if she needs training, if she needs to regain power, physical power at least, and if she wants to reveal what she can do, then he will train her even further. But if she wanted to work on herself, then he's always there to be a guide and mentor.
Perfect. The
I
magic
feel like... Go ahead, Mindy.
I was gonna say the magic looks much different.
Oh,
And I will say,
what's that shit right there? I don't know that.
for those of you who, actually, let me message Mindy to make sure this is cool. Although I suspect it will be.
I'm nervous.
I was gonna say, I feel like Moira would have normally protested to becoming a warlock, but when Tyrion died, she became all Charlie's.
And she definitely like is. I feel like a lot of the sweetness that we saw before with her is now very specifically reserved for people who knew her before. So I don't think she's like she's definitely a bit colder.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say you might see a figure spending time around Charlie sometimes. A tall, thin figure, long black hair, indeterminate gender, carrying a staff.
So how long after does this happen, Mindy? Like a year, 5 years?
So I guess it depends on the magic leaves pretty quickly, and I guess even when you all come and say, "Hey, like let's go to the house," I'm like, "Let's do it," even though I think at that point, do you want to go? Like, we're just going right now. It's like a quick trip.
Get in the car, loser. We're going shopping.
But I think even in that moment, she doesn't actually have any magic at that point. So I don't know like what she was thinking when she was like, "Yeah, let's go." I mean, I know what she was thinking. It was, "Let's go get my husband back." But I think it would be, I do think she tries. I think there's like a possibility she tries like learning magic, kind of like Tyrion did, and like he's got all these books. I don't think she has quite the focus that he does for that kind of stuff, and B, I think it's too hard because all of the books just remind her of him, and it like she can't separate the two. I think she would try, she's never been able to pick up a big sword or anything, but like a crossbow. I mean, I think she tries other things, and honestly, I feel like the interaction she has with her new friend comes at a time when she is feeling like she's never gonna be able to do what she needs to do to save Tyrion. and she's already angry at like life, literally. I think she's starting to get frustrated with herself. So I guess maybe a few, maybe 6 months ish. I don't know how long she's gonna be trying different things. But I guess I would imagine whenever I guess my guess it wouldn't even be years, it would be a few months. Now that, I mean, I imagine Camille, she starts basically at level 1, so it's a gradual, now she knows magic, so it might be slightly accelerated, but like, and I think at first no, I don't even think she's trying to hide it.
So, as we move forward, this trip to the Hells.
Oh god. It's gonna go super well. I can already feel it.
Well, and Briar has left, so Briar's not an Azmarin while you're doing any of this, but she will just communicate to you to come get her, or that she has a way to check in on you, and that when you're ready, she will go with you.
And I feel like eventually, and Charlie would definitely go to Aegon to kind of see if she can expedite her growth, accelerate her growth. Because, like I said, she was ready to go to the Hells with no magic at all. So, like, you know, but she gets it. So I'd imagine that she would eventually call. I don't know how long that would take, but eventually she would call Briar back. I imagine we might know of a way to get to the Hells through
Hellbreaker.
Hellbreaker.
At least he'll know how.
Or like what
You
we
have
need
an
to
inkling.
do or can do, yeah.
You'll have to be a high enough level to cast Plane Shift.
Yeah. But also, really quickly, I need to check a thing.
Go ahead.
Sorry. This is all in character. I can cast it. It's a question. That's what I thought. Briar would eventually be able to, if she wanted to. It would take a much longer time for Charlie to learn it, and I can't learn it at all. Who can learn it is someone who also was affected by all this and would gladly
Talking about X?
help, as they are a sorcerer. And Aegon and X would have had long conversations about everything.
Tell us what happens with Aegon and X after the big fight.
They had sex. No, but they admitted. I mean, it wasn't an easy thing because even though, you know, X was there when Aegon came back, there's still a level of, you know, but I was betrayed and all these things. So there's a level of trust that has to come back. But it comes back pretty quickly, you know, considering. And I think the saddest part, oh my God, you changed the name. Oh, Undying Warlock, what? Sorry. That makes sense. Sorry.
My last undying breath.
Oh, fuck. I love you. But there was a level of them wanting to just kind of start a family and be together and not allow the past to be the past, but accept that the past happened and move forward. But each of them, both being warriors at their core, being fighters and those who protect, it's hard to fuck you, T-Mobile. It's hard to sit there and do nothing or settle down when there's so much more that could be done.
Yes.
So yeah, they have many talks about if they want to do this, especially after Hellbreaker said, you know, you need to be better, you need to be higher level, for lack of a better word, and they both agreed to do that.
So, I will say, X probably is on board for whatever it is you know, the two of you decide. I think it comes to basically when we go to the Hells, we try to stay alive, and then we come back, and regardless of how it ends up, we decide to start a family.
Yes. Yes, 100%. It is, we will do this because Tyrion deserves it. And whether we succeed or fail, we come back. It's one of those also, the unfortunate thing is X also knows that if it gets too hard, if it gets to a point where it just looks impossible and going forward makes no sense, he would obviously give people a choice, but he and Jude are coming back.
Yeah.
It's more so him saying Jude's coming with me whether you like it or not. And Jude's like, I can't, I have counter spell.
That's my man. I got to do what they say.
He's like, I can counter spell them, but then they can counter spell my counter spell, so it's just not going to be a thing. So yeah, but yeah, he does 100% try. Whether he succeeds, it's whatever, but he will try. They will try, both of them.
This trip to the Hells, you learned that Tyrion was taken and held in a very similar place that Hellbreaker was, for a short time. Let me get us some... Let's see. It's called the 9 Hells because there are 9 layers. You learn that the very first destination for Tyrion Curiadis is Nessus, which is the 9th and final layer of hell. You were able to learn this, Briar is able to learn this through forcing visions, etc. over some time. You do know that in 15 years, it will be easier to get to Tyrion, as he will be held in Phylactery, which is only the 4th layer of hell. Do you go to the 9th layer of hell? Or do you wait 15 years, go to Phylactery?
I think we learned this before we go, correct?
Yes, definitely.
So I will just turn to Charlie.
So it is worth noting, this is a general note, that flavor. As Charlotte was learning and growing in her new power, you will notice that there are streaks of white in her hair. The more she grows, the whiter it gets. She does not want to wait. 15 years is a long time. However long it has been to wait till this point has been too long for her, so I do think she would agree that if things started looking bad, she doesn't want to lose anybody else. She can't lose anybody else. And what little old Charlie remains will not be okay with, well, if we get him back and we lose so-and-so, that's okay. We're not losing anyone else. So I think she wants to go but she is also very willing to, if it's very clear that we are not going to get out of this, okay, well then we leave. And I'll try again in 15 years. I think that's where she sits.
If you all make your trip to the Nine Hells, I will say, while Tyrion is in Nessus, it is virtually impossible for you all to make it out alive with him. So your first trip is ultimately unsuccessful. You don't lose anybody, but you don't gain anything either. Aegon and X, what do you do after this first failed attempt?
So I never said this. It doesn't honoring who they are. And obviously one thing doesn't denote another thing. However, X was assigned female birth. They have a child. And those years later, they grow. They tell. I don't think they're too far from Azmarin, but I don't think they stay in Azmarin too much.
Maybe the Wildwoods.
Probably the Wildwoods, sure. Though there is a tie. I mean, a thread that I need finalized, but I'll talk about it in a second. But later. But as not Stefano, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I gotta think of a name. I'll probably think of it before the day's over. But as they grow and as they become older, I mean, Jude's still a fighter. Aegon's still a fighter. They're still who they are. Still keeping in touch, still making sure that the two are fine in 15 years. Once they knew that was a date, they knew that in 15 years, this could be a thing. He'd ask to see if what Charlotte and Briar are doing, and if this is something they're still considering.
What are Charlotte and Briar doing in 15 years?
I think they're definitely sticking together.
After the failed attempt, I don't think Briar trusts that Charlotte won't try to go alone. So Briar's not going to let that happen.
What? What are you talking about? I think Charlotte... it's weird calling her that. I don't think she stays in Azmarin for super, super long. Will we get to the 15 years and have another attempt, or how far are we running in? That's what I'm...
I mean... Oh, are you asking... Sorry, you're asking Camille, not me.
What do you mean, will we get there?
Will we get... So are we going to talk about that now, or we can... I don't know. Timeline's getting messy. That's why I'm asking.
So over the next 15 years, as Azmarin becomes a city that is unified, a city that is unified under the Rescuers, under the Rebellion, under Theo, the First Lord, they come to naturally resent and resist the Empire, the Empress grows more and more corrupt by the day, until one day, 15 years later, as we catch up to Fate's Chosen and Death's Keepers, it becomes clear that the same people, the same devils, the Assembly, who were responsible for overtaking Azmarin, also instilled a doppelganger in place of the Queen, the Empress. Oh my god, that's so good. Go ahead and say it.
Oh, I was gonna wait. No, it was fine.
Okay.
Keep talking. I'll come back to it.
Okay.
Sorry, I was like listening. Like, ooh, what happened?
Until a civil war breaks out. Azmarin leading, Wolfcrest not far behind. A rebellion against the Empire for the crimes committed during the incursion.
But really quickly, the devils, because I'm not caught up with face.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. But the devils put a doppelganger in place of the queen.
Yes, at the same time as the before or near the same time as the incursion, and that is why the Empire allowed Azmarin to fall.
Oh, that's fucked.
Yeah.
Makes sense though.
So
That
the
becomes
queen-
common knowledge.
It becomes disseminated, especially among the four of you.
Ouch.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
So, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I would imagine part of when Briar and Charlie are jaunting around the continent. I imagine if we see an increase in devil activity, which I imagine as we get closer to this like time when we're going to be able to make another attempt, I imagine they're targeting devils as much as possible. I think it probably starts as this, like we're doing the world good. And maybe it stays there. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. I think that Briar is pretty perceptive and being very in touch with some of the darker side of life. Would probably notice that Charlotte is becoming less Charlie by the day, and as we're like living and doing this like Thelma and Louise type of lifestyle where we're just like to everybody. I do think that before we make the trip at the 15-year mark, Briar will finally let Najwa go and let Gabrielle rest, just because she's been with me for so long. She has looked after us and made me stronger, and it's time for her to rest. And I think we both know, Gabrielle and I both know that I think without even really talking about it, she knows that whatever is about to happen or wherever I'm about to go, she can't come with me. She can't follow me down this road I'm going.
It is also worth noting, and this would be important for Briar and maybe even more specifically Aegon for when we meet up again. My aging has slowed. I do not look as old as I should.
She barely looks a day older than the incursion or the fall of the devils.
Yeah, Aegon definitely looks. Because how does Briar look in that same vein?
So Briar doesn't look too much different. The aging process is probably semi-normal, given her that she is a gnome, but she was already mature despite her demeanor and general behavior. So she was actually much older than all of you. So hasn't changed significantly. Maybe the mint in her hair has faded a little bit as she's getting just a little older, but she looks kind of the same.
Yeah, you would notice the first thing you'd notice is Jude normally has hair that's kind of down here, chopped.
It's pulling too much.
Exactly. No.
Yeah.
But the sides are like almost they're graying, but not gray, because he'd
Right?
be about. Yeah, exactly.
Hot.
He is definitely hot, Dad. Because he's between 35-40 at this point. Because
Sweet spot.
Aegon had to get that soccer mom cut.
Yeah, exactly. But no, yeah, so head side shaved. It's almost Mr. Fantastic-esque, but not that gray, with his color still on the top, still kind of there. Definitely probably has like a mustache now. Yeah, but he still could take off that vest and still have bulging arms, like we all know and love. But
we get it. He's hot. Jesus.
well, look.
So does Aegon come with us the second time too?
Aegon and X. Because their son, who I decided their name is DJ, though they call him Junior or GJ, his full name is Darius Delavan II, as he is named after the grandfather. So he is not a junior technically. But he is named after Aegon's father. And he's a little shit. But he's staying with Grandpa right now.
Yes, Hellbreaker is still around, still kicking.
You better be. But no, yeah, he stays with Grandpa, and as two dads have to go save one of their dad's best friends.
So now we are caught up to where Fate's Chosen and Death's Keepers currently are in the timeline. We have about 15 minutes until our fourth watch begins. I have a question for all three of you. Would you like to decide now what happens? Or would you like to leave it up to be a mystery?
Or is this when the three campaigns collide?
So there's also that, which we can talk about.
God. I'm ready.
Oh, because you have Charlotte and
I was
Leona.
like,
Basically the
Good
same
luck.
character. Oof. That's
At least you only need the one wig.
Well, you probably need a new one now because Charlotte got some
That's
some
true.
grays.
That's true. You need to.
Got a lot of grays now.
So Charlotte and Tyrion's hair almost like matches now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cute. Or it would be if it wasn't so sad and
I
angry.
will say this. I will not pressure Chris or Mindy or Derek technically. But that will be very interesting to see. Like in the future, the age of Curiadis.
I mean, we're already in the hells. Why don't we all just bust in tomorrow? What's everyone doing tomorrow?
Technically nothing. But no. That's not technically. But yeah, I it's not that I want to keep it mysterious, but like I would be very interested in seeing
Playing
how
it out.
that goes.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do. Then we'll leave it there. I will say, the next time you go to the Hells, there is something very different about Charlotte, and Briar would see it immediately. Charlotte is no longer among the living.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't know, Aegon, I don't know if you would necessarily notice, but Briar would notice that Charlotte has become a lich. And her power is unfathomable at this point. She has surpassed you all.
Wow. I mean, I'm assuming like this is like level 18, 19. I don't know how.
Yeah, how does
Depending.
that work
Well, if you're not adventuring, then you don't level. You don't just gain levels for aging.
Of course. No, I mean,
So-
Jude and X definitely have time with family, but they definitely
Exactly.
still do shit. So
There would be some advancement, I think, if we're out in the countryside fighting the increasing devils.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, they're not just doing nothing, but they definitely are.
definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely the leveling would slow as you know.
of course.
So we could talk about a level.
Yeah, we talk about it. Yeah,
We could talk about it.
15 years. Let's see what happened. But then
Yeah,
at
we'll
that
see what
time,
happens.
yeah. Anywho, a lich. Wow.
So with that, we will go to our break so that we can go to fourth watch. As we go to our break, go ahead and start putting your questions in the chat if you have not already put. Instead of putting them in the Discord, which we have a specific channel for, please put them in this chat so we can have them in one place. And we'll be right back with our host, Alex.
Oh, nice.
Oh, baby, I love your madness. It's so incredibly beautiful. Oh, you shine like gold, so your pandemonium. Life is so easy. Whoa, you love me to pieces. Yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium. The limit of love is endless. I know. Just do what you want with me. Yeah, I want it all. Could care less the cost. I give you my everything. Some would say I'm insane in the right and the way, but I just love to play in your fun and your games. Always hungry for more, that's just how I was born. Take me somewhere I don't know and give me your freedom. Whoa, you love me to pieces. Yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium. Life is so easy. Whoa, you love me to pieces. Yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium. And give me your freedom. Whoa, yeah, to pieces. Yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium. Life is so easy. Whoa, you love me to pieces. Yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium. Oh, baby, I love your madness. It's so incredibly beautiful. Oh, you shine like gold, so selfless to all, and wild like an animal. Oh, some would say I'm insane in the right and the way, but I just love to play in your fun and your games. Always hungry for more, that's just how I was born. Take me somewhere I don't know and give me your freedom. Whoa, you love me to pieces. Yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium. Life is so easy. Whoa, you love me to pieces. Yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium. The limit of love is endless. I know. Just do what you want with me.
welcome to our Patreon. Here on Open for Adventure, we are making high-quality Dungeons & Dragons content, folks. We have a great big world to share with you, and by becoming a patron, you can help us explore and expand upon this adventure. With your support, we can invest in more amazing artwork, better mics, fancy cameras, and overall stream quality. Not to mention, help us get some amazing new merch that we can use for giveaways. What do you get by becoming a patron? I'm so glad you asked. Let's take a look at the different levels and give you a sneak peek at what you can get at each tier. Did you know that the family of the First Lord Theo, the leader of the rebellion against the Empire, actually invented firearms nearly 25 years prior to the current campaign? The designs for this high-tech weapon are the Delaney family's best-kept secret. Also, they were originally invented by the late First Lady Victoria, Theo's mother. Access to lore leaks like this is what you can expect from the first tier, written in blog-style posts after each weekly session. Ever wondered what goes on off-camera? The next 3 tiers give you exactly that. With Stolen Moments, you can get access to text-based roleplay moments, highlighting experiences that don't make it onto the stream, like Leona's training session with Ray and Azmarin. Stolen Moments Plus gives you access to roleplay moments featuring our guests, non-player characters, and historical figures, featuring the likes of Marshall, Annalena, and even the Empress herself. And Roleplay Addiction takes us to a whole other level. This tier gives you exclusive 30-minute videos of canon interactions not otherwise seen on stream, like late-night drunken interactions between paladins or tender moments featuring your favorite character ships. The Warm Fuzzies is super simple. It's everything I've listed so far, and also you get your name on stream after our weekly regular sessions. Every session. And our undying love. And finally,
Oh baby, I love. Oh baby, I love your madness. It's so.
Charlie needs to be right there. Who needs? Oh gosh. Oh my God, we're live, mother bitch. God.
Oh baby, I love your madness. It's so incredibly beautiful. Oh, you shine like gold, so selfless to all, and wild like an animal. Some would say I'm insane in the right away, but I just love to play in your fun and your games. Always hungry for more, that's just how I was born. Take me somewhere I don't know, and give me your freedom. Whoa, you love me to pieces, yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium, life is so easy. Whoa, you love me to pieces, yeah, I need it. Want your pandemonium. The limit of love is endless, I know. Just do what you want with me. Yeah, I want it all. Could care less the cost.
And we're back for real this time! Oopsie. For our fourth watch!
Hi, Jen!
Aw, thank y'all.
Yay.
For our fourth watch for Ashes of Azmarin, we have our lovely host, Alex, aka Axolotl Cure.
Hi, everybody. How are you doing today? All right.
Sad.
Feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know what?
no,
That's
it's-
fair. That's fair.
It's the end of the road, but the beginning of the hype train.
True.
Hey.
That's good. I'm gonna steal that one. I'll credit you, but also I'm stealing it.
Choo choo.
Also, spoilers for what was said, 10 minutes ago. But if Charlie is a lich, is she even allowed to have feelings anymore? Like, how does that work?
She's allowed to have feelings. Let's just have feelings, as you know.
Liches have feelings.
Oh, you know what? Good point. Good point.
Say, you don't get to talk to me about liches.
I don't. You know what? That's fair. Okay, for those of you who have potentially not seen a Fourth Watch on this channel before, Fourth Watch is a question and answer session that occurs either after campaigns or in the middle of our long-term campaigns, which is just us talking about our characters, talking about how the campaigns went, and just sharing all of our juicy secrets, and talking about all the fun above the table stuff that goes on with these games.
And no question for me is off limits. You can ask anything you'd like, even if you think I won't tell you. Because I might.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is the best place to get juicy secrets. This is the only place you'll spill some of them.
And they can ask questions in chat as well.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Let me tell you, I have learned so much about my own game from things that Camille has said during Fourth Watch. It's great. Anyway, let's get started. I will ask, so this is a question for the players, slightly modified for Camille. So for the players, what was your favorite reveal of the campaign? For Camille, what was one of your favorite moments where a player surprised you with something that they did?
Oof.
That's, for me, that's really easy.
Okay.
The biggest
let's go.
fucking surprise of the campaign was when Chris put that curse in Hellbreaker.
That was.
Oh, God,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, that's not a reveal, but I was like, that one's brewing in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Hellbreaker.
Ooh. I like Heartbreaker.
Heartbreaker.
Oh my god.
Biggest reveal? Favorite reveal?
I actually got to throw this over to CB. The reveal of the two different people. That Jude wasn't really Jude. That Jude was Aegon, but also still was these two personalities. And also the reveal that Aegon / Jude is the one that burned the Temple of Ioun.
Yeah.
Ooh, y'all, this is like bringing up some feels, and some
What about
memories.
What about you, CB?
The reveal, I mean, I guess this counts as a reveal. It's funny that it's centered around this place, but Moira, Tyrion's mom, when Chris brought Moira back to see Charlie for their wedding. Again, when I went to that scene, I was okay. Death person, souls, probably the souls of his friends, the people who worked at the library. I did not see it being his mom, and I was like,
I 100% thought it was going to be like all of the scholars and all the people you work with, and they were going to be like, have a great wedding. And that was going to be sad enough. But then it's like, hey, hold your mom's hand and she's going to meet your new wife. It's like, oh my god. I should have named the pseudo dragon that.
Mindy?
I really liked the reveal of Hellbreaker being a part of the rebellion, partially because I just really enjoyed watching CB's reaction. Yeah, that was a good one. Or finding out that my mom was kind of a devil, I guess. That was also kind of fun.
I think that just leaves Chris.
I think it does.
Oh my god. I feel like it's hard because like every session was some big reveal because it was such a time constraint. So like every session something big happened. I think maybe gosh, I'm gonna say I'm torn between Najwa revealing, I think to Tyrion that he was an angel. If I'm remembering how that went down correctly, that was a good one. But also Charlie's mom being a devil was really good. I will say, I thought your dad was going to be dead in that room. I thought for sure that his body was the one behind the door, and I was
Me too.
Don't get nasty. But yeah, those are probably the big ones for me.
Which we
and I'm
revealed
also.
kind of...
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, CB. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm also cheating. What we just found out today, fucking not even the lich part. Her being an undying warlock.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You said I am taking an oath of a vow of vengeance, and I was like, hell yeah, we're paladin buddies. I will train you all day. You want to smite? Close your eyes. It's really bright. But if we're gonna do this, and they said, oh, actually, I'm gonna make a pact instead. It was when you said the word pact, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, it's an epilogue, but it still was just, this game continues to excite me even after we're done rolling the dice. So good.
Yeah, that was a gut punch. That felt like revenge for making Mindy cry all those many times.
It was.
Just like, yeah. And also, we never talked about like what kind of Azmar Tyrion was, and I'm not sure if we'll reveal that. Oh, it'll come up later.
Is that something you want to
Guesses.
expound on, Derek?
Fuck
We're already
it,
here.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tyrion is essentially an Azmar of Charlie. His entire existence is bound to the gem around her neck, which was from He Who Was.
You want me to help you here?
Please.
I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
So, okay.
Full lore dump.
So the necklace that Charlie wears is the last remaining remnant of He Who Was. It is his last art. It is one of his two last artifacts. The other artifact is the Veldahar. He Who Was the god that Asmodeus killed to take his place as a god.
Gotcha.
He also was played by Goat in the Dawn War campaign, and he died at the end.
We're trying
also-
to bring him back. It's fine.
Fate's Chosen is attempting to resurrect Azmarin, He Who Was, to destroy Asmodeus. Now, when Asmodeus died, essence of him rained down from the sky and collected into a cave, and that is where the Montcroy family found this gem, and they gave it to Charlie the day she was born. A week later, Tyrion was born. His Azmar lineage essentially awoken by the proximity to this gem, which was in fact awoken by Charlie's birth. And so
Wow.
in theory, and essentially, Tyrion was born to protect Charlie.
He was the point of his entire existence.
Fuck you. Wow.
The was in that sentence is just doing so much work.
So, another reveal. Tyrion's name, Camille hates me for this. I have a thing for character names that they kind of mean something in like another real world language. Tyrion's name is actually Welsh. Tyrion means shield. Curiad, spelled with a C, is love. I added a US and changed it to a K. His literal name is Shield of Love. And also I added his middle name as Percival because I wanted his initials to be TPK.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't think that was on the wedding invitation. I'm not sure if
It was.
Yeah.
That's solid.
Tyrion
I
Percival
didn't pick
Curiadis.
up on it.
Yeah.
On the TPK part.
So I feel like this kind of answers one of the questions we've got here, but just for the sake of making it explicit, Derek and Mindy, was Tyrion / Charlie a thing from the very beginning, or was that something that you put together like in the middle of the campaign, or how did that come about?
So I was essentially a late addition to this campaign. I was replacing the Bad
Shout
DM
out to
who-
We
Bad DM.
miss
Bad
you. We
DM,
love you.
Incredible. Love you so much. But yeah, so I had a day to make this character, actually a few hours, and Camille was incredible. She is absolutely amazing. If you've never created a character with Camille, she asks the most poignant questions that you would never thought of, and just I built this character. He's my favorite character I've ever played. But when we were kind of like, oh, what is he bonded to? What is his whole reason there? Camille was like, hey, have you ever had a romance, like a PC romance? And I was like, no, never done that. She's like, hey, well, let's ask Mindy if she'd be okay with that. So we brought Mindy onto the call, and essentially what I said to Mindy was, I'm going to create this character who basically has a crush on your character. There is no obligation from you or her to reciprocate in any way. We are going to roleplay this out. If I am bad at it, then I'm bad at it. It was essentially like, hey, if this is something you're comfortable with and it works in game, let's do this. But there's at least this foundation that he cares about her. I didn't tell Mindy that he was essentially created to protect Charlie. But that's his whole purpose. I mean, he was celestially drawn to Charlie from the beginning. He was meant for her. So that was his whole purpose of like crushing on her. And I kind of talked to Camille like, oh yeah, no, maybe like he would just use a spell here and there just to keep her out of harm's way as they're walking through the streets. But it was always this from a distance sort of thing until she walks into the rebellion. He's like, oh fuck, I failed.
That's actually why Nakir was brought in, is because basically Derek and I were competing for Mindy's romance in this game. And
Which
Derek
is the real
won.
reason Camille killed Tyrion.
That's the real reason.
Yeah.
Another F in chat for Nakir. He was a bad bitch too.
He did.
Are we gonna find him in the hills? Maybe he'll help us out.
I'll tell you if somebody, once we get towards the end, I will tell you what happened to Nakir.
Mindy, was there anything I left out of that?
I would love to hear Mindy's side, yeah.
No, I think it was pretty good. It was basically everything Derek said. I was brought on a call. It was very much this is how Tyrion feels about Charlie. Like, at no point did I feel like I was being pressured to, like, Charlie, have feelings for Tyrion. And Derek was great and checked in frequently throughout the entire campaign just to see where I was at and how I was feeling. So hi.
Hi, Grayson.
Hi. Okay. So, so like we knew it was a possibility. I also knew that Nakir was a possibility. Mostly because Camille can't help herself.
It's true.
That is true.
So we knew it was a very good possibility. We had set a foundation but we weren't 100%. We were probably about 80% sure that something would happen eventually. But we didn't know how long it was going to take. We didn't know what it was going to look like. Good Lord, Charlie is awkward. But yeah.
Yeah.
So yes and no.
And to the point of PC romance, that is one of the most important things. Check in on the other person frequently. I messaged Mindy before, during, and after, like, hey, is this cool? Is this okay? Some of the bigger moments were very spur of the moment. Like the proposal, that was planned on just being a pseudo-dragon. But then Camille messaged me saying, you have a ring. And I just
Camille's fault.
It's all Camille's fault. So yeah, I definitely planned these romantic moments because Tyrion was trying, but some of the stuff wasn't necessarily planned. And that was, but still, yeah, if you have a PC romance, check in. The comfort of the other person, the consent of the other person is paramount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also want to quickly point out, because I don't think it's a fourth watch question, and I just want to mention it. I mean, as Chris and Mindy, they might know. Obviously, Derek wasn't here, and it was Steven who was playing another Azmarin named Tyrion. Really interesting name choices, y'all. But he was the fallen Azmarin, and on top of that, it wasn't going to be Tyrion and Charlie. It was going to be Jude and Tyrion. So that would have been a completely different story. So I'm just how that shifted. I love. It's really that y'all storyline was just perfect. But I just wanted to mention that because it would have been interesting for another person to fall for another Azmarin in this campaign. X wasn't going to be a thing because Tyrion was there. X was kind of a thing, but not a thing that was going to come back. Anywho, but
I can't have games without romance. That's my brand. It's real.
That's fair. That's legit. Omega, I actually do have a question with respect to Aegon. He had a very sort of emotionally compelling arc with respect to this very strong and impactful redemption story that you decided to tell. What were some of the things that you drew on that inspired you to play this particular character and portray him in the way that you did?
Ooh, there's a part of me in Jude. There's a part of, people in every character, but like with Jude, I drew upon my own forced independence. Because Jude's story, Aegon's story, was about him having a lot, losing more, not knowing how to get out of that loss, doing the only thing he can think of, which was, be under Gideon's control, for lack of a better word, do this heinous act and go. And I don't have a heinous act in my life, but life has a heinous act against me. And then it's being alone in that. So how he dealt with the trauma of everything that happened and how he moved forward from that was definitely something that I knew very personally. I told Camille when I first created this character, because like I don't typically go for automatic evil characters. Like, it's not fun for me. Don't get me wrong, I play evil very well, but I believe if there's going to be an evil character in the game, either they need to be completely evil, point blank, period. Like, I sometimes I hate redemption arcs. It's like, you're just being like pseudo evil. Like, one of my favorite characters is he's a shit. It's Joffrey from Game of Thrones, because he was evil, but you knew he was evil and he was going to stay that way. But those characters are great, but that wasn't for this campaign. And I was like, with Jude, if he's going to be redeemed, you need to see it. He will not be redeemed overnight. I very much likened it to the Zuko redemption. I was like, I want this character to be unforgiving at the beginning, because that's what he is. He's hardened now from what the things that he's done and the things that he has to do. And I want him to hopefully see that there's more to life than just revenge, or more than life than just him trying to work and gain redemption for himself. Like, there's just a lot. He was hard to play at first, only because I was scared, and I was so thankful for this cast. I didn't want him to just be that asshole, that person who was just there to be the stick in the mud, or the one who they all want to run away. No, we're going to fight because I say so. Like, that's not fun to do. But I also said I wanted to be very truthful with this character and what he'd be going through and the actions and choices he'd make. Like him speaking, one of the first things that happened was him speaking in Infernal to the devils, not knowing that mostly everyone could speak Infernal. But him being true to his character and how that played out was just how it played out, and I'm really thankful for that. But yeah, he was a very, very fun character for me to play.
Speaking of fun, I will say that I love all of these characters for different and unique reasons. That said, I found Briar to be, in my opinion, probably the most fun character. And I wanted to ask Chris, Briar was very fun and energetic and just a joy to watch. So can you tell us about like playing her in the way that you did, while also growing and mechanically growing into this sort of Reaper Death Prophet person?
So I very intentionally with Briar wanted to play a tragic character who doesn't act tragic. Because it's very easy, especially in these kind of games, to play like edgelord, sad boy, like, oh, my heart is broken. But like to not make that interesting. And I wanted to be very careful not to fall into that trope, but I also wanted to give her a legitimate reason to be removed from things. And so I feel like with her, I was trying very much to keep her light without being ridiculous, to keep her not even as the comedic relief or anything, but more just as like a different nuance of like what tragedy can look like, right? So sometimes when tragic things happen, you are shut down, you're closed off, you're cold, but sometimes you deflect or you use humor or you just kind of like remove yourself emotionally from it completely. And so knowing that, because we had done some character work beforehand, you know, in the 2 session 0 kind of things that we did, knowing that CB was going to lean a little bit more towards this darker, hardened character, I was like, well, I don't want to put 2 of those in the same game because that might be a little bit heavy and it's already a heavy environment. So what if I kind of skewed her the other way and made her kind of like the lighter side of sorrow? I don't know what the right, but yeah, just kind of like making them, despite both having these like really painful pasts, letting them be each other's foils. So that's kind of what I was doing there.
I'm glad you used that word because that's exactly what I was going to say. They very much felt like foils to each other because they both had some effed up stuff in their past, even if some of it was self-inflicted. And just how they process, especially in comparison to Charlie and Tyrion, who honestly were the light of this campaign, quite literally in both ways. Just how Jude and Briar navigated the world. Not same problems, but you know, trauma and just all those harshness. Just the way they let those things be realized. It was just a pretty thing to see. So yes, I love Briar too.
And for Mindy, I have a question. How did playing a pacifist affect your experience of this game? Because D&D is kind of a game about fighting shit. So how did voluntarily sort of eschewing that affect your actual play experience?
So on the one hand, it made like smaller combat super easy because, oh my god, I'm just gonna heal you up a little bit, you know? But for like the bigger combats, like the last couple of sessions we had, it was really hard. Like needed some reassurance at callouts to make sure people knew I wasn't like intentionally making things more difficult for the party because I wasn't doing other things. I think it made me realize how much I don't. That's not something I would ever want to do. Maybe again, or at least for a very long time. You know, that was like a nice little fun adventure. It was great. Had a fun time. Got a T-shirt. Probably not going back. It was more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I usually play support classes, support characters. That's typically my go-to anyway. So I honestly thought it was going to be easier. I was like, it's going to be easy. No. I like to do a little bit of damage now and then. But I played with some really fantastic people that were really supportive. So that made it easier. Because yeah, I think the hardest part was feeling, especially in the second to last session, I felt really guilty because I wasn't even doing anything really because we weren't even taking a lot of damage. So I literally was just tagging along. That's what it felt like. So yeah, it was more challenging than I expected.
But hey, consider this. If you were a fighter, you might have had those spell slots to do your spell casting.
You're right.
It just turned you into a T-Rex. Could have been a T-Rex couple.
We could have, well.
You and this fucking couple shit, stop.
I was going to say too, I know that, I mean, we've processed this in callouts a little bit, but without Charlie being who Charlie was, there would not be Briar being who Briar became, because Briar borrowed a lot of that humanity and some of that like being in touch with other people she got from Charlie. So Briar could not have evolved in the same way without you playing Charlie the way you did.
And I mean, I'm piggybacking that one. I mean, there was a lot of character development that came from Tyrion when it came to Aegon, but there was a lot that came from Charlie. Charlie's just willpower and belief in the world and protecting the world, because at the end of the day, especially protecting the city, before he was an Oathbreaker paladin, he was a paladin he was an Oath of the Crown paladin. Because that's in my head, I pictured the paladins of Azmarin being Oath of the Crown paladins or whatever, because it makes sense, protecting the city. So she helped him remember, though Tyrion helped him hope again, she helped him remember what his duty was. So yes, your choices made all the sense and helped, I want to say honestly, a lot of these characters have more development. Because we could see something to be inspired by. Yeah, you did that.
Yeah. Tyrion
Now
would
you
have
can
been
be
nothing
inspired
without
by
Charlie.
a lich. It's fine.
My favorite undead princess face.
Yeah, Tyrion was #sad boy from the very beginning. He'd lost everything. He would not have had the hope if not for Charlie. Charlie was the light of the party. That's why he used that imagery so often.
Yeah, I was gonna
Like
ask.
a
okay.
void instead of a light now.
Is Lich Charlie still a pacifist?
Oh God, no.
Okay, I didn't think so.
Oh, God.
But I had to ask.
Do you want to tell them what your pact is? What your pact boon is?
Wait, what's my pact then? Wait, hold on. I'm there. Hold on.
Your boon, not who your pact is.
Oh,
Like chain, tome.
Pact of the Blade.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Spicy. So spice.
Oh, sorry. I'm just picturing X, Charlotte, Briar, Aegon, all rushing to hell. I mean, Hellbreaker, but unfortunately, no, Hellbreaker's staying home. No, he got the kid.
Old.
He got the
With the
kid.
kids.
That free childcare.
Yeah,
Yes.
grandpa.
Oh, that's a powerful ass fucking group, especially Pact of the Blade.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit, I'm the healer now.
Whoops.
I mean,
Yep.
technically,
You and
can
Briar.
liches heal?
But Briar
Oh
can't
wait,
really
I'm a
heal
warlock. I
much.
don't have
You still-
access to those spells anymore.
No, now
Warlocks don't
I
heal.
can't save someone who's dying. That's the trick. So I can
okay.
heal. I just can't
I can-
willingly spare the life of somebody.
I can
Gotcha.
if you're dying, I can help you. But
You're
that's
dying,
it.
yeah, you spare the guy in the 30
I can
foot.
spare you.
I
I
know.
can give you a little extra, little bit, but that's all I got.
Stock up
You
on
want
health
your own
potions.
now.
No, honestly, it makes, oh my gosh, just that imagery really quickly.
Yeah.
Because Jude was the hardened one. She's like, oh,
Yep.
I'm bubbly, healing
Yep.
everything. And I was literally like, I'm gonna stay back here. I'm a dad. I gotta make sure. So you fight.
I'll make sure you don't die.
Got a
Eldritch Smite
PTA
too.
meeting at 5.
Eldritch Smite, great. Yeah, you need some healing, lay on hands. Cool, great.
Oh,
All right, sorry.
Pick up the kids from soccer practice. We got to be out of hell by 4:30,
Oh
kids.
my god.
I mean, he is a soccer dad.
Oh, so my scythe is so big now.
Oh,
The Azmarin Rebels. That's their soccer team.
Oh my god.
Oh, the Azmarin Ashes. That's what it has to be. Fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for
Awkward. The uniforms are all gray.
sure. hmm
Anyway.
Also, Chris, you have so much more generous an interpretation of the fact that you can't save anybody. Because the one time I played Reaper Oracle, whatever, I just took no healing spells at all. It was great.
Well,
I had a ton of fun.
Towards the beginning of the campaign, Briar was very much like, fuck, like, good luck. Like, I'm just figuring this out. I'm not going to risk myself. But then towards the end, once she had investments in these people, she was much more willing. Like the first time it happened was when Jude went down behind the, wherever that was, when his mom was like, haha, I'm evil. Like she popped out like, and then like pieced out. That was the first time Briar was like, oh, fuck. Like if I don't do something, this person that I'm starting to care about is going to die. So it was like a slow process.
So, could we just brief time out in terms of the whole healing situation? I just want to point out that the first 3 times Charlie attempted to cast Revivify, she failed.
On who? On me or on Aegon?
was
You were the only 2
Mom?
successes I had. Mom, Tyrion, and that person.
and the
we-
guy.
Yeah.
I failed more times than I succeeded.
That's
Gee,
true.
that can't have anything to do with how she feels right now. What?
What guy?
At the
Yikes.
very beginning, remember the people came in. There was one guy who was just like dead, and then Jude
Like-
healed.
Oh yeah,
The devils are on their way.
And
You need, yeah.
Dane
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
what's her shit?
I have the
Yeah.
notes, but I'm not looking. Also, that's the group
Emily?
that
No, that's not right.
that's the. I'll look it up. That's the group that X was a part of too. That's when X got captured.
That's right. That was also Briar's first vision.
Oh my
It
god.
was.
Ashes of Azmarin campaign
much.
notes.
Yep.
It's a book.
Oh, y'all.
I was kind of only joking a little bit.
Camille,
I mean, it's not a lot, but it's a lot. I mean,
There's a
no,
lot of
actually,
questions in chat.
the game's over.
I've read them. They're very
copy
good.
link. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna get fuck up. Oh, there you go.
Oh.
Anywho, sorry. Next question.
Camille, I have a question for you, which was, how did running a game set in the past of a setting that you're running right now, how did that work out? Did you, or have you felt like you needed to change any lore? Has it been a challenge? Like, can you talk a little bit about what it's like running past Samaria and present Samaria at the same time?
So the way, I think the only reason I'm able to do this is because of the way my DMing style is, and I tend to be very flexible with lore. I don't come up with lore that is not needed. So none of the, like, everything that has happened in the current campaign happened. And I told everybody what was going to happen. The city was going to be saved. How exactly that went about, the circumstances of that, were entirely up to this party. And they were entirely, like, the whole party could have had a TPK and people still would have come in and essentially the city would have been saved one way or another. But that's not what the campaign was about. The campaign was about these people's personal successes and failures. As far as lore that's been changed, I would say the only thing that's been changed, like, nothing has been uncanonized or anything like that, but it's just been more fleshed out. For example, Jude's father, biological father, is now known as the leader of the as if Fate's chosen were to go look it up, they would see that Hellbreaker was the leader of one of the leaders of the rebellion, and that would not have been a thing before this campaign. If walking around the city of Azmarin, they'll see I've been placing little nuggets of what I can. For example, the bench that has Tyrion's name on it. There's something else that has Tyrion's name on it now that he's super dead. So
Whatever you want. He's super dead.
Also, there's the small statue. No, it's not in the statue. Just a small thing in the West Gate,
yes,
where people every year put milk out for Stefano.
Yes, exactly.
There's also the plaque on the basilisk in the Bastille.
Yes, the plaque on the basilisk in the Bastille. So what I essentially did was I left the world open to my players to change and to be a part of. It's like I said, here's a beginning, a middle, and an end. Here are the dates. What happens? And that's really my favorite way. And I did the same thing with the Dawn War. Like, the Dawn War is pretty set in stone. It's pretty long, set a long time ago, but that's not what the story was really about. And that's why I like these past campaigns, is they can be so fascinating and there could still be so many surprises, which is what is so thrilling about it. What? 23 Milkman?
Oh my god.
I hate her.
Love me.
So speaking of the wonderful and enigmatic NPC that is Stefano, Omega, to my knowledge, this is your first long-term thing on Open for Adventure. What are the chances that you will grace us as Stefano Jr. at some point in the future?
Well, okay, so fun fact about that. The time willing, I'm always willing to come back, because I shout out to Camille as an actor first and foremost, and as a creative second, and as some lore about me, I was all about Tumblr roleplay. I Tumblr roleplayed so much, but what the feeling I get now when I create a new character is how I felt making a new character on Tumblr. Whether it was Agent J from Men in Black or fucking Witwicky from Transformers, I went in, y'all. But that lore and the amount of just backstory and just how much I cared about these characters, Camille allowed me to do that here so hard, and that's, for me, no shade to any other DM out there, I rarely get to have that. I really not only get to have those things created, but see them realized in game. I'll be candid. I had a chat with Camille for a bit, because we were 4 episodes in, and we knew this campaign wasn't going to last too long, 12 episodes, something like that. So we're 4 episodes in, and I was I can't remember exactly how I phrased it, but I was
You were ready for Aegon's stuff to come up. You're like, where's all of his stuff?
I was like, we got a lot of stuff with Briar. Well, we got a lot of stuff with like Charlie. Got a lot of stuff with Tyrion. Some stuff's happening with Briar. We have like no lore stuff with Aegon whatsoever. And I was like, what's happening? She was like, trust me, I am holding it off for a reason. just bear with me. I know it's weird and I know it's hard. And I was like, I promise I'm not making it about me. But she was like, I know, but just trust me. And then it found out that Hellbreaker was the leader of the rebellion. It's like, oh, now it makes fucking sense. Holy fuck. So like, she's allowed me to do so much, and that's something that I latch on to. So I'm like, I would gladly come back for a game, for anything when I have time. Obviously busy as fuck. But I kept joking, and it's kind of no longer a joke because it would be very interesting to see. It's no surprise how much I really enjoy the Oracle class. I got to, do I got to do a play test for Camille recently with Oracle class. And there's something about that class that just feels right. And I was like, Stefano, because of his sacrifice and his essence is definitely within Azmarin now, Milk included. Whoever his descendants are, whatever, they will be an ancestor oracle. With Stefano. It's so silly, but I was like, yes, it will happen. So we have to. Also, because I told Camille, something I love about Camille is how she'll take the smallest thing and make it just so poignant it hurts. Like, Stefano was a joke, but we all knew that the 4 areas that we were in, they needed like light beacons or whatever to signal that the battle is beginning. And she decided to make Stefano the mage who sent up the beacon as he died. And I was like, oh, well, we're honoring Stefano now. Because Stefano's sacrifice is the reason we started that battle. Well,
look, I was just playing off of you, CB. You're the one who came up with Stefano.
Stefano, no!
Yeah, CB, what's it like to have a joke turned into something canon? Do you want to talk about brunch?
Brunch, but see, brunch, no. There's a difference between a joke and a motif.
That's fair.
But no, fair. Brunch became a very important motif in its symbolism for this group. Because as we said, as Tyrion said, brunch represented hope. And so it really did become a full circle thing. So I enjoyed moments. It was slightly a joke, but it was like an in-character joke that became so much more than just a joke. Stefano was a full-ass joke. But we stand him regardless. Anywho, that's Stefano. Yes, I definitely want to come back. I have thoughts about many things. Also, right. Daddy Jude.
That's fair. Backing up to one of those thoughts specifically with regards to Stefano Jr. being an Oracle. Chris, how was your experience playing the Oracle class, playing something that's not like official material? What was your experience playing that out?
It was good. It's always interesting and it's always a process playing something that's not like, because even when so full disclosure, when we first started, Briar was actually going to be a roguelike, and we already had one in Carrion. Steven, I love you. I'm sorry, but he was also going to play a roguelike, and so I brought these ideas forward, and Camille was like, "Okay, based on what you're telling me, it kind of sounds like this might be interesting. What do you think about this?" Which I got excited about because like the Reaper thing has been my aesthetic for years. Like I am so obsessed with this whole idea of being an angel of death. So like I was like, this is perfect. And I feel like it went well. There's always things that you're figuring out as you go, which was really the only challenge, is just like trying to figure out mechanically, like, in combat or something, Camille would be like, does the thing say this? And I'd be like, no, it doesn't say this, or what does this mean? But other than that, it was good. And I like that. I like that there is as much diversity to the Oracle subclass as there is to the Cleric subclass. Because also I think sometimes when you build classes, it's really easy to only have like 1 or 2 options, and it's very like, this was a much more dynamic experience, and it's interesting to see. I'm doing some play testing with a different version of this coming up, so it'll be interesting to kind of have those in juxtaposition and see how they play out. But yeah, Reaper Forever.
Did you have a favorite ability or thing that you could do from Oracle?
Yes. I don't know if one-liners are my skill set, but I liked the moral crisis ability a lot because I really liked being able to say asshole things, but just like a little snippet. Yeah, so I would say the moral crisis was probably my favorite because I just like talking shit and it gave me an excuse to do so in character.
You got some good mileage out of that too. That was really good.
Yeah.
What you said, and it still shook me to my core. I'm going to paraphrase it, but it was, we're all going to be remembered in the history books of Azmarin. You're only going to be remembered in mine. And he was like, oh, bitch. Well, you said that.
That line was amazing.
Yeah, it was. Did you come up with that beforehand, or was that on the spot?
No.
Oh,
I also don't like to come up with almost anything in any game. I don't like to pre-plan things because I feel like then it looks rehearsed on me. I don't have the skill to make it look like it wasn't. So I just like to sit there and I'm like, what would I say?
I mean, that's an
That's
even
impressive.
greater skill to be able to come with that shit on the fly. I'm like,
You had some of the best one-liners.
Yeah.
Holy shit. The Reaper goes where she wants. Oof.
ugh.
Speaking of preparation, y'all are making this so fucking easy for me, going from question to question. Derek, we have a question for you. How many of Tyrion's epic speeches were prepared ahead of time, and how many were just off the cuff?
Huh. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It all depends on whether I knew the scene was coming. Like the vows at our wedding, we knew that was going to happen, and I warned Minnie ahead of time so that she also could write Charlie's, which were incredible. So yeah, he also would have prepared his vows. But like the proposal, because that was off the cuff, that was just Tyrion very much speaking from the heart. The Ashes of Azmarin speech definitely was prepared. That was reworked 100 times.
Ashes of Azmarin. Fuck.
And I'll actually
That
say
killed
the
me.
Ashes of Azmarin line was added 10 seconds before we went live. That was not originally in there. But like the letters today, I wrote as I was listening to the intros because I very much wanted to almost address the concerns of the players from Tyrion's point of view as he would almost anticipate them going, knowing it would change absolutely nothing. But yeah, I did prepare. I definitely prepared some things, the really big things. I still have my Word doc, and probably always will. So I prepared another epilogue if Tyrion had actually lived, which, oops. The Ashes of Azmarin thing, the vows to Charlie, and then the 2 intros. That's all I ever had written. Everything else was off the cuff. So like the ribbon scene that this is magic, this is hope. That was also kind of just off the cuff.
Damn, you got some good improvisers in this group. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Care to lend me any of that? Just curious. You know, how does that work out? I don't know.
You got plenty.
I was about to say, I don't think you have anything to worry about, Alex.
Oh, anyway, Mindy, even though we didn't get a chance to, jump full on into the sort of experiencing Charlie as a lich,
Yes.
she did definitely. She was definitely challenged, and she changed in a lot of ways throughout the campaign. Did you find it easy to? Did you find it easy to play through that? Was it more difficult than you expected? How was going through Charlie's growth for you?
It was something I was really worried about because when I initially made this character with Camille, and I think part of it was naturally because she was a pacifist. There was this idea of the different directions she could go, and because up until this time in the campaign, she didn't really see any kind of struggle of any kind. And we talked a lot about like what if it would make a difference, what it would look like, what that progression would look like. And honestly, looking back, it I was more worried about it than I should have been, I think. I didn't feel super stressed about what direction she was going. I feel like it made sense that she kind of almost made it. She almost made it, and then losing Tyrion being the final straw made sense for her. So I've never played a character with this much dramatic change. Like, I've played characters that have grown, but this is not the kind of growth that I'm used to doing with a character. So that was fun. It was less nerve-wracking than I thought it was going to be. And I feel like at the end of the day, it all kind of worked out and made sense, I think, for her. Says the Lich.
Can I just say, I think what I appreciate about, obviously this is an epilogue thing with nothing we really know or can do about it, but I really enjoyed that even though you became a Lich, she didn't become evil, because people automatically equate, these things like Oathbreaker Paladins. I was thinking in my head, I was like, people equate Oathbreaker Paladins with being evil, and while he did evil things, Jude wasn't evil.
Right.
And same thing with with Charlie, with Charlotte.
Yes, Mindy
now.
too.
Mindy too, yes, totally a Lich. But it was a natural progression to where she's going and what she needed to become to save what she loved. And who knows what happens afterwards, but I love it wasn't based in I'm just going to be what they want me to be. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. It was based in this is the power I have to have now, and I'm getting my boy back one way or another. And you won't stop me this time, because if you try, I'll just come back and do it again. So, I like that.
Thank you.
Quick question, because in this setting, I feel like I might actually get an answer. Mindy, what is Charlie's phylactery?
Do you want to know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes, that is why I asked the question.
So, it was briefly discussed, aka like 20 minutes ago, that there was a reason that Briar had to send Najwa away. Her phylactery is Briar's book.
Oh, fuck, I wish oh, yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, we could... I don't know if it would have worked. That's my only problem, is because the book is actually, like... Sure, it's fine.
Okay.
Sorry! I don't know if she would have still had the book after she dismissed Najwa, because Najwa is the book.
Okay. Then if it wasn't that... Oh, now you're going to hate me even. If that wouldn't work...
Yeah.
She probably would have made it the necklace.
Damn!
Makes sense. Yep. Yep. The thing that is made of pure light. Yeah, I mean, both are great.
Sorry,
that's
goat.
Get fucked, Arabad.
Sorry, goat.
Oh, because that's a piece. Would they probably need that piece to bring back the god?
Yeah. Do we need to?
They don't need that. They need the Valdahar.
Also,
it would have helped.
But she, yeah.
Who cares what they need? That sounds like a them problem.
That does sound like a them problem.
That's true.
Oops.
That's true.
So this is so I'll ask this question first, because it's more likely to get a no or you'll see, etc., etc., etc. So, Camille, we've gotten to see some Dawn War stuff. We've gotten to see some Azmarin stuff. Do you have anything planned for further explorations into Sinmarian history?
I don't have anything planned. Currently, I don't have anything planned. Oh my god, this dog. However, I'm open for adventure. I am open for whatever people want to do. I will say, I'll give you a sneak peek when Fate's Chosen wraps up, and then shortly after, but then as Death's Keepers wraps up, I do know what I will be doing next, and that will be the next era.
Ooh,
Yeah, Alex, you did
fun.
say history. I was also thinking there is a future.
There's also a future
Oh, yeah,
planned. Yeah.
that's true too. That's true too.
Yep. So that will be up, but that's like late 2021 stuff.
Sure.
My DMs are open. So.
I was about to say.
Oh, I already messaged you.
Get this crew back together.
Camille, did you have a favorite NPC to play from this game?
So I'm gonna go with my gut reaction, which was Dave, because so let me tell you about Dave. I was actually he was the first NPC I had to plan for this campaign because he was the first NPC that they met. And I'm laying in bed the night before with my fiance. I'm like, what should I name him? Like, he's got to have a cool name. And I think Grayson said Dave. And I'm like, that's the stupidest. That's my dad's name. That's my uncle's name. That's my grandfather's name. Like, I hate that name. And then when I never came up with a name, so when it came time to name him, I'm like, fuck, Dave, I guess.
And Dave died with unrequited love.
Dave
that never really
died.
got addressed.
Yeah, Dave had a crush on Jude, for sure.
He did. Yeah. Yeah,
Wait,
that was something in the very, very first episode.
Yeah.
Tyrion basically figured out that Dave was looking at Jude the same way that Tyrion was looking at Charlie.
Yeah. It was he was also very much intimidated by you. He would have never approached you. Never.
What did I say? I said one thing. I said multiple things, but I said one thing. The four of us and Dave have to survive. Dave deserves everything.
Bless.
Oh my God, he had a crush. Jude's not. I'm very perceptive and I'm very insightful. Didn't catch that.
You were 3/5 correct.
So I'll say Dave. I liked him. There was a chance he could have betrayed y'all.
Thought for sure Dave was evil.
Yeah, I know. Everybody did. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
I was.
I have spells. No, let me stop.
I was happy to let the focus be more on these 4 players than NPCs, because I do love NPCs, and I feel like I've got a pretty strong NPC game. But I loved that. I didn't need a lot of NPCs for this game.
I'm gonna turn it around. I think the 4 of us, we've got to go into full detail, but favorite NPC that Camille played for sure. I'll start. Other than Dave, I had one and then it went away. Well, I have one, but I feel like Mindy is probably gonna say it.
Is it Nakir?
I was like Nakir. It just stuck in my head.
He was very fun to play.
He was one of the more recurring NPCs too.
Mm-hmm.
See, I loved the 2 heads of the Thieves Guild.
Oh yeah, God, that was some great.
And personally, both Moiras were extremely lovable in their own ways. Like Pseudo Dragon Moira, just, hey, you okay? Yeah.
Y'all like too much.
This is so random, but it's stuck in my head because I'll never forget this moment because no one expected it. I really liked the jailer, the Horned Devil jailer.
Yeah.
He was like a small moment, but like you actually gave him like some substance before he got to kill us. And potentially that's who we fought. Oh, is that who we fought in the courtyard?
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't think, but it's probably who you would have fought. So.
Yeah.
Oops.
Wow. Because I would just remember the chat they had about he was fun. Obviously, but Nakir wins for me. But yeah, he was a good one too.
Let me know when y'all are ready to find out what happened to him.
That's my question at the end of the sessions.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Chris, do you have a favorite NPC?
Gosh. I mean, I have NPCs that I think Briar as a character was obviously more attached to than others, but I think in terms of execution, probably I almost said Mindy. Probably Charlie's mom.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She was despicable.
I hated her.
Oh.
And then I loved her and had to cry when we killed her.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't kill her. I just didn't save her on accident.
I beat her ass. Sorry.
It's fine. Could be that way.
Okay, so here I think is how the rest of this will play out. I have one final question for everybody. Then, to my knowledge, everyone is going to have the ability to ask one other person in the chat a question, and then I have one final question. So to start, I will ask for everybody, what is something that you will take from this game? Whether that's like, oh, I want to, I've improved my role-playing skill in XYZ way, or I'm always going to remember this moment, or, I'm going to do this next time I run a game. Like, what's something that you will take from this game?
That's a good fucking question.
Yeah, like I need some time.
I very much improved my roleplay. I weirdly added to my brand that I do dumb shit for love on O4A. And that, as dumb as that is, I had always, up to this point, typically played monstrous race characters who did not get romantically involved because I'd never wanted to make other players uncomfortable or even like step into that realm. But this very much helped me strengthen my ability as a role player to potentially create those types of bonds in the future. I will say that Mindy was the perfect person to have a PC romance with. She is an incredible role player. She's an incredible person.
Yep.
And yeah, she made this comfortable for me as well. I never had a problem like reaching out to her or trying something different. So yeah, I think that I can now, I have a stronger confidence in myself as a role player and a stronger confidence in my ability to perhaps role play romance in the future, which I never thought I'd do.
Mine is definitely again, as I said before, playing an evil character in a campaign is not an easy feat to do. Even if evil adjacent, but evil still. And I arguably knew my character, who at least what I wanted to play before anybody else knew what they wanted to play. I knew that I wanted to play an Oathbreaker Paladin. I said, I want to take on this thing that's hard to do, because I mean, as we joked about, in a game of fighting we had a pacifist, but in a game where party dynamics is like such a key thing, I played someone who's so anti-party dynamic, and not just in the broody type, like I don't want to be here, more so in the I will hurt you if you get in my way type, because that's what that character was. So learning how and experiencing how to play such a character, and though the redemption was nice, that's not the focus of where I'm getting at. Just learning how to trust, making sure you always checked in with your party, making sure that nothing was ever personal, making sure that it was still fun. Because even if a character isn't evil, I personally, it is what it is, I hate perfect parties. I hate them because they don't exist. My best friends, we call ourselves Toes because I named her Taylor Omega Ebony Shannon. Like, we're Toes. It's the only name that would come out of those tennis shoes. Those letters. But even we have infighting because no party is going to be perfect like that. Even in D&D, even when you can mid-max them to be perfect, no party's perfect. So I wanted to really show that in an extreme way. Like, yeah, you're working with someone who probably wants you dead. Or at least not wants you dead, but will sacrifice you to get to where he needs to go. But again, making sure I chatted with the players, chatted with the DM, checked in with everyone, make sure my actions didn't harm the overall goals or plans for the party as a whole. Because those characters can easily become, you can accidentally, or some people on purpose, can make them the center of attention with their storyline, and that's never what I wanted. Especially those first couple of episodes, I took the back seat in a sense, because I didn't want him to just full out be like, I'm evil and I don't like you, because that's just again, that's not fun either. So yeah, learning how to, for lack of a better word, accurately play such an evil character and still have that party dynamic that you that you want when you play was a fun thing to experience, and I'll take that away for sure.
And you did an amazing job of that.
Thank you.
Minnie's noodling.
I had mine, and then it like floated away.
Okay, I can go.
Go ahead, Chris.
So I think for me, this was a really interesting experience because I argue, despite that some people may not agree with me, but I think that you always include a piece of yourself in every character you build. And this was a campaign in which I really had to challenge myself to monitor that. There was a lot of bleed between Chris and Briar, and I think that people that know me well know exactly how we overlap and exactly how Briar and I are different. And so processing that actively with the group that you're with, making sure you're being honest with yourself about what is going on with you and with the dynamics with the rest of your players, and this is the first time that that's really been in the forefront for me as I'm navigating, this character's story. So I think that accepting that character bleed is okay as long as you're keeping an eye on it and being honest about it, and allowing that to inform how you play a character instead of running from it, leaning into it. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I think that I will do moving forward. There will certainly never be another Briar, but moving forward, I think that just in how I build a character and how I play them is something I would take with me.
Thank you, Chris.
So I think, there's always this element in any kind of TTRPG, at least all the TTRPGs that I've been a part of. This flexibility, you can have plans, but like, it's okay for them to change and that whole thing. And for me, I've always been a believer that a good ending does not have to be a happy ending. And this was the first time that I got to kind of play that out through Charlie. And I didn't expect it to necessarily go this direction, but I'm glad that it did. So I think, I don't know. I don't, this is such a big question. I don't know. I think getting to experience this not happy, but satisfying ending, there's no ending, to her story was really powerful for me. And it was exciting to play. Because it's one thing to like know it and believe it and be like, yeah, like it's okay. Like that even makes it a little bit better sometimes. But to have a character who really tried to do all the right things and it just didn't happen. It didn't work. She did not succeed at one of the main few things that she wanted to do and based her like engagement in the party with. She was unsuccessful and it cost a life. So yeah, that was, I don't exactly know what I take. That's something that will stick with me. Not process through and see exactly what I'm taking away from it, but that's me. I'm not as eloquent as my peers.
Oh my gosh, that's a lie. I will piggyback.
Yeah, just break my heart and say you're not eloquent. That's great.
My answer is going to piggyback off of CB is actually, I am, as a person, generally quite conflict averse. And so inter-party conflict is the most stressful for me. It's come up in other games where I'm like, okay, y'all, we need to figure this out because I'm not enjoying myself anymore. And I think that with the help of CB, this game, I was able to really enjoy the conflict that was brought in. And really, I felt very safe because of the players and because of the way CB brought it up and the way we were all able to talk. So that kind of expanded my ability to handle that inter-party conflict. And not that I ever expected any party to be perfect or not get along, but I wasn't just terrified of the party breaking apart and ruining the game or whatever. I trusted my players, and I think that was a big stretch for me too. Or not a big stretch, but that was definitely a stretch for me. And so I kind of was able to lean on CB and able to lean on the other party members, and that's what I'll be taking from it.
There was definitely a point where I thought Tyrion and Jude were going to come to blows.
I mean, we had that whole, we had a wonder because, you know, we ended that one episode with Tyrion being like, we're not fucking finished.
Yeah.
And I that was another layer of trust because I flat out said, I don't know what's going to happen, but I can say a possibility of that outcome is Tyrion better have all of the spell slots prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jude was, at that moment, it was still Jude. Jude was not in enough space. He had just gotten, as I told, sorry, not to go on a tangent, but like what made Chris's, even though it was later, when Chris decided to have Briar, or when Briar decided to put the curse into Hellbreaker, the reason it hurt like Jude and me so much is because Darius was Jude's like lifeline. Darius was the character that inspired Jude so much, and when he died, Jude was broken, and that's how Gideon also got to Marilla, and squeezed his way in. He's very much like Judge Turpin, Judge Frollo, like 100%. That was Gideon's like aesthetic, sliding in and weasing his way and infecting these two very innocent, fucked up characters who gets lost the love of their life and their dad. So when Dad came back after Jude was so sure that he was dead, and Jude was doing all of this now to honor his father, he was already heartbroken. He was already just like devastated. Like, how could he become this person? All these things. And then Tyrion decided to run up and be like, we ain't done. I tell him, like, there's a big possibility Jude will break on you.
Yeah.
And I want you to know there's no ill will, but wrong place, wrong time, he might get brat back.
We discussed it. Well, Tyrion's biggest thing was that Jude had the audacity to act like the most damaged one when Tyrion's scars were on the inside. Well, he did actually have exterior scars. We never actually got to that, but the reason he wore gloves is because his hands were scarred. They were burned from opening the doors to the library that were metal, and they had permanent scars. So it never actually came up. But yeah, that was his biggest thing against Jude, was Jude had the audacity to go, you know, I'm the most damaged one here. I get to be the asshole when Tyrion's, and it very much, it's not a perfect comparison, but it felt very Iron Man, Captain America, very Superman, Batman. These two leaders where one of them is darker and damaged and the other one is trying their fucking best. They're both trying their best, but they're butting heads the whole time.
Mm-hmm. What was also interesting is that this is gonna sound like I'm coming for you, but it's not. Jude never said he was the most damaged. He just said he was damaged. He just said that he had problems. Tyrion seemingly took that way more personal.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely yeah.
So
speaking
like,
for characters, that's where
of course, yeah,
right.
but yeah. So when this thing happened, and Jude, though he was still at the point of, you know, being to him whatever, he still never asked people what happened to them. He still never got into their personal issues. He just knew he was working on his own, and he was working with this group to finish the entire thing. So when someone so powerfully tried to insert themselves and say we ain't done, he's like, oh no, we are done. So yeah, it was so many different ways that confrontation could have went.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I don't know how it got to that one, the one that happened, but I'm not saying I'm glad it went that way, but I'm curious to know what else could have happened. And like, it's interesting how it laid out this way when it could have went so many different other ways.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of things you're curious about, now is the time to get it all out. Because
hey, that rhymed.
Hey, it did. Oh, it wasn't even intentional. But yeah, now I'll let y'all. You can each go around, ask one person one question, and we'll see how this goes.
What happened to Nakir?
Roll persuasion. I'm just kidding.
Roll for religion.
Nakir's whole deal is that he was a fallen angel of He Who Was.
Mm-hmm.
He became a devil through not his own actions, but actions that other creatures did. And just as there is a way for angels to fall, there is a way for devils to ascend. And Nakir thought that through Charlie he could ascend and help bring back Osiren and help bring back the god of humans. And so he became very attached to Charlie as his savior. However, it doesn't always work out the way we want it to. He realized he became, as the more he helped y'all, the more attention he got, and he basically was under threat of demotion, under threat of like being sent back to the hells and demoted to put in the pits of Phlegethos. So he decided as a last-ditch effort to try and save Olympia, to try and save the Delaney's. And when he was found, he did not give up. He did not quit, essentially. And that last act of courage allowed him to ascend. And so he is now, though he was killed in that moment, he was not sent back to the hells. He was sent to somewhere else where he is almost like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly, being reformed into an angel.
Great if you could stop that, Aaron. Yes.
Yay, you did it.
Unfortunately, that process will take time.
I love it though.
Yes. So somebody had a happy ending.
Somebody had a happy ending.
Wasn't y'all, though.
Sure as hell wasn't me.
Hey, some of us did, kinda.
Kinda, yeah. Who's next?
Mindy, does Charlie still love Tyrion in the same way she did? Or is she just bound to hate at this point? Like, is this going to be worth it? Should she get him back?
Yeah, should she get him back? Oof.
Should she? Because even though he's spent 15 years in hell, she's the only thing that's kept him going.
Oh, it's gonna be a very different Charlie.
Still gonna love her.
Wow.
They can just be a lich couple.
I mean, I think she still loves him, but it is interesting to think about how much of it is just blind obsession. She's been 15 years apart. 15 years is a long time when you think you're a human, but then you're not really a human, so I don't really know how that works. I don't know how the perception of time works when you're a lich.
15 eternities in hell.
Yeah, so 15 years is a long time without him. I don't think she doesn't love him anymore, but I do think it's changed. She's changed. What
They
does
fixed
that?
each other once.
Did they?
She fixed him.
Yeah, so wow, that's a big question.
This isn't my question, but because you said that word, you said specifically fix. That sets up like so many things in my head. Would she want to become who she was again?
Oh yeah.
This isn't my question, but here's a question.
This is my question.
Well, to
like
be fair,
my
when I
actual
said
question.
this thing, it was more like ask whatever you want. We can ask twice. It didn't have to be one thing because we still got like an.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still have some time, so.
Yeah. But I was like, because it goes into is that change a bad thing, even though it's different from what Tyrion knows. Is it a bad change? Yes, she's a lich, but is that bad for her? Fuck love for 2 seconds.
If you need to think about that, I was going to say mechanically, I mentioned this when we were on break. One of my biggest fears for Tyrion was 15 years apart, Charlie as a human is going to age. Tyrion himself is an Azmar. He's going to live longer than her anyway. The greatest fear of his is to lose her. But the fact that she essentially hasn't aged now, that she is this undying being, is almost somehow works out for their love, because now he doesn't have to actually live without her. And I think it's going to be the most important thing, just to see her again and know that they can have, even though they've lost this time, they are essentially timeless together. So he wouldn't know that, but that's his greatest fear every single second of the eternity that he's spending.
Pretty quick.
Still be proud of her. You became a lich. That's so great for you.
Oh my god, Tyrion!
Love that for you.
I think it'd be a lot more torn than that, but
Oh yeah, no. Oof.
yeah.
I think
Oh,
thinking
you found
about
that
this,
book.
thinking about this is fascinating because I hadn't yet contemplated this, but Charlie, because of everything that's transpired since Tyrion's death, Charlie was the love of Tyrion's life, but Charlotte is the love of Briar's life. So there can only be one version, right? Which is interesting because it's not like a romantic competition necessarily, which is kind of how things tend to default. But there is, the four of us went through this huge thing together, and that's this permanent part of all of our history. However, it's only a blip in the radar, right? In terms of the timeline, in terms of their personal lives. Like, Aegon might be the only, the shortest lifespan at this point.
he is
Given
100% going to die before anyone else does.
Yes.
Right, and Briar, if Briar just fucked off and like lived in a hole, she would live for another 300 years. Like, so she was gonna outlive all of you anyway. But now the idea that she doesn't have to do that she doesn't have to go without. It's very interesting because whatever Charlie's choice would be if this even happens, given we don't all get murdered, but if this even ever went down, it would be fascinating to know how that plays out.
Can I just say, I need art. Artists in chat, hold on. What I need is Lich Charlotte, Reaper Briar, Angel Tyrion,
In
all
grayscale.
standing
Like our
in
final
grayscale.
forms.
But if Tyrion comes, if we get Tyrion back, because they will be able. I mean, they're going to be, whether it's a couple like Tyrion and Charlotte. I keep telling Charlotte. Whether it's just the bond that Briar and Charlotte now have, those three are going to know each other for a long time. Mm-hmm. What I need is those three, if Tyrion comes back, looking down at DJ.
Oh God.
Aside from that sadness, we also need art of the ribbon burning, essentially, and also Reaper Briar on a T-Rex.
With us from the back,
Right.
with
Yeah.
us standing in the skyline on the other side of us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's just the other thing is Tyrion might be a fallen Azmar now. 15 eternities in hell might
I
be
was
enough
about to say.
twist somebody to evil. He can only do his best.
Especially if they're showing him what Charlie is becoming.
Well, keep in mind, it doesn't have to be evil either, but that's
Fallen Azmar aren't necessarily evil.
my main character. Malachi is a fallen Azmar because he was born an Azmar in the Shadowfell. No light can touch there, really.
Yeah, not saying that
yeah,
he's evil, but that
course,
there is a darkness to him now.
Of course, yeah. That'd be so good. Oh gosh, two
Yeah.
skeletal wings.
Because the other thing is Phlegethos is the plane of fire, or the hell, the ring of fire. That's not it, but the layer of fire in hell. What's Tyrion's biggest fear?
Fire!
Oh fuck, that's all
They
bad.
put him in the worst place.
Rude.
Oopsie.
Yeah, I think that Charlie versus Charlotte thing is very interesting because I think I do wonder. My initial gut reaction is if we are successfully able to get Tyrion out, I think there's this moment of, well, what now? Because I don't think we're getting Charlie back. I think we've got Charlotte. I think that's what we got. Now, depending on what Tyrion is looking like, feeling like, living his life like, after, I think Tyrion and Charlotte would have to. I almost imagine it as having to fall in love again. It's already there. Like that affection, that connection is there, but they're both 15 years is a long time.
Yeah.
A lot changes in 15 years. A lot changes in a couple of years. But I don't know what Tyrion would look like. I don't know what Charlotte looks like after we get. I don't know. That's a big question.
They'd have to start again.
I'd have to start over, I think.
Yeah.
And see. Yeah.
They can do that.
I have a question for Chris.
Oh, God.
I mean, we know what Charlotte becomes. How? Can y'all hear that? Calm the fuck down.
We can't.
Oh, that's good. But we know what Charlotte becomes. What do you see the Reaper becoming these next couple of years, especially without Najwa being truly your own type of person? Is there a duty to the balance? Is there a duty to herself, themselves? Obviously, she cares about Charlotte. She, I assume, still cares about Tyrion. DJ. But what does her life, what's the meaning, what's her purpose after all this is done? Deep question.
Yeah. I don't.
Because there's only one Reaper, right?
There
At a
can only
time,
be one
yes.
at a time. And so I don't want to
Spoil as much as you'd like, Chris.
Well, I'm Mindy. I don't know how much you're comfortable of sharing kind of what we had. I think the key thing to remember about Briar is that Briar has spent a lifetime belonging to no one. So Briar has never, until now, and arguably even until after Tyrion has died, has never felt. I mean, she definitely felt kind of beholden to the group when everything was going down. Those connections were sincere. But I think even before we knew Tyrion was going to die, before all that, I think she also still anticipated there would be an end date with that. Like because she always knew that she was, if even in a best case scenario, if everybody lived, then she's just going to have to watch all of you die. So in her mind, she was always just kind of preparing herself to walk each of you over to the other side when the time came. That said, this is kind of a whole new world for her in that there is a possibility that she might have someone that will be by her side, because even Najwa said, I have to go eventually, right? So even Najwa wasn't going to stay with her forever. So I think that a lot of what she did when she left Azmarin after, immediately after everything was said and done, was going away to honestly to figure out if she even really wanted this power or not. Trying to use her visions and things to keep tabs on Charlie, to see what direction Charlie was going in, and then seeing what choice Charlie made for Briar meant, okay, now I can't let go. I can't let go because now she is going to be here, and I can't let her do this alone. So I think that in a very different way, Charlotte became Briar's purpose, very different than Tyrion's. Because for Briar, everything is like this. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is. So the only thing now in her entire existence that is permanent is Charlotte. I I do think that she's obsessed with the idea of freeing Tyrion, but it's for different reasons. It's not to bring Tyrion back, it's to free him so he can go be with his mother and to let him be at peace finally, because especially as the world gets darker and the devils start to pop back up, Briar's not going to want to bring Tyrion back into this mess. Like, I don't think she would think it was fair to drag him up after everything he's been through and be like, okay, let's do it again, but this time it's worse. So, yeah, I think that beyond that, making sure that, you know, Aegon and Charlie are okay, or Charlotte, that's really all that has been a priority for her. That said, kind of like what Derek alluded to, 15 years is a long time, and it can change a person pretty significantly depending on what you're going through. And Briar's always been a little morally ambiguous. Briar has never been a quote unquote like good guy. She's always been on the fence. And so I think I said this to Mindy for sure, if not to both Mindy and Derek, that if Tyrion is dumb things for love, then Briar is dark things for love. And Briar would have done whatever she had to do to make sure that Charlotte was successful, and to not leave Charlotte's side, whether that means making choices that are, you know, suboptimal for the world around them, because honestly, fuck the world. What has the world done for Briar?
Not a thing.
Literally nothing. Like, she lost one of her best friends in the world for someone else, and there's nothing, you know. So it's like, I don't think she has as much investment in the greater good anymore, and that becomes less and less as time goes on. So the idea that she can be with basically her sister now and live for God knows how long and just wreck shit and burn it to the ground it's probably too appealing for her to pass up. So I think you would, if depending on how long she lives, you would see a significant shift, and she would no longer be the sweet foil to Aegon's, you know, like stalwart kind of like darkness. She would definitely be kind of like burn it down.
I love that so much. I really love the idea of Aegon switching alignments, essentially, you know, from evil to good. But I also love the dichotomy of the other three being twisted in their own ways, that they are the forgotten heroes of Azmarin. Theo is the one who essentially gets all the credit. They get to plan a funeral. They get to plan a funeral.
And
exactly.
He gets to be the king.
So they might turn into the villains that then roam the earth, the forgotten heroes. That maybe not even villains, but just these dark entities.
I will say there is nothing that's going to be forgotten about these heroes.
Mm.
Oh, we'll make sure
they are ashes. Ashes are not things that can be built with. They just remain.
That's so fucked. I didn't even think about that. All this work and Theo gets the credit. I mean, they'll be known, but Theo. Oh God, that hurts.
That's what I'm saying.
Theo does not ever take credit for beginning the revolution.
He's given the credit, which is kind of the hardest thing.
It is his return that allowed the rebellion to even have hope, to even go forward.
Yeah, it's not like they're going to assassinate Theo or anything like that, but there's definitely a bitterness to it.
Definitely not. That would never cross Briar's mind.
And again, morally ambiguous is perfect, because I don't think, even more so with Briar, but the three of them, I don't think there's this necessary evilness. I don't think there's any disdain. Yeah. I mean, probably Briar has, like, you know, fuck you, but past that.
For Charlotte, I almost see it less of a shift from good to evil and more of a shift from lawful to chaotic.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Morally ambiguous, definitely. Maybe shifting down to neutral a little bit there, but it's almost a shift, whatever direction.
I also do love that Briar would always stay by Charlie's side, because that was Tyrion's wish for Charlie, was to find love again, however that looked, even if it is this found familial love, that Charlie wouldn't be alone, because that's why the pseudo dragon remains, even though she would become closer to Charlie.
And she does keep Moira.
Yeah. And to that point, there is a scene that just came to my head of them being in the Hells and Charlie, for the first time in 15 years, hearing Tyrion's voice coming through Moira when they get within 100 feet. And actually, Mindy, do you mind spoiling who your patron is?
Oh, yeah. My patron is the Mad Lich King.
Mm-hmm. Fuck. Okay.
I didn't know that. Nice.
I saw that, Alex. Yeah.
Come in for y'all, Death Keepers.
I love
Not
that
really.
shit. I love it.
That's what I thought, but I just
Is it
yeah,
the
wanted to
same?
confirm.
It is it's her, right? Yeah.
Spoilers
Or-
for Death Keepers, yes. The Mad Lich
Sorry.
King is
Pandaria?
it's Zendaya Massier.
Oh, I wasn't gonna give that spoiler. I was
Oh,
just
shit, well,
spoiling
here
the
we are.
sheet.
I mean,
but
that was,
okay.
But
that
no,
was
I
already
don't-
spoiled in DK.
Whatchamacallit, not Mindy. Charlotte would not know their true identity.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No.
Yeah. They would know them as the Mad Lich King.
They made me big and strong, so that's okay.
Big strong, baby.
And they have a weird staff.
I also love that Charlie, as a warlock, would still be able to keep the armor that Tyrion gave her, but that as she takes that pact, that hope that's imbued in it would
She can't
be
wear the
corrupted.
armor.
Oh,
She
Can't
can no
wear
longer
locks.
wear the armor.
Can't wear it.
it's medium though, isn't it?
Warlocks cannot wear medium armor. Not this warlock.
Oh. I think that's Hexblade.
I can wear my Cloak of Elvenkind. That's
There you
really
go.
the only. I couldn't keep my shield. I mean, she doesn't want any piece of, I don't think that she doesn't want any pieces of Charlie, but she sees Charlie as such a failure.
Ooh.
Like, you had one job, literally one job, and you didn't do very good. So
Did great.
You did your best.
she did her best. You know, 3 out of the 4 of us surviving.
Math is hard.
Wow. Math is really hard. Who does math? Not me.
Sounds like one of
I
us
was like,
touches it.
you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The rest of us look to you.
I don't know how to do math. Counting's hard. 75%. That's a C. I got a C on my campaign. Good job, Charlie.
You passed.
C is for corpse.
C is average. Oh god.
Oh god.
Oops. Sorry. I couldn't help
I
it.
will say I had an epilogue in mind that was contingent on a couple of things, because it was contingent on Briar's vision, and I'm wondering if any of you had something similar from that, because my thought was Aegon, Jude at the time, and Hellbreaker were going to be the ones that died. And so I to talk about preparing things, I work at a job that gives me a lot of free time to think. I like play all this stuff out in my head. But I had a scene in my head where Tyrion would take his twin sons to the graveyard, Jude and Aegon, and he would tell them about the man that they were named from. And also in my head, this was Briar becoming the Reaper. So this would be Briar just standing like 100 feet behind Tyrion. He knew that if he turned around, he wouldn't see her, she would be gone, but he would just send her a message that there's always sandwiches waiting for her.
Not twins named Jude and Aegon, though. That hurt.
Yeah, well, because he would have been the one to give his life. It was essentially like, I want to tell you where you got your name. The bravest man I ever knew. This friend who sacrificed himself.
All right, Harry.
Because that's why I had in my head. I didn't want Aegon to be this forgotten person, that he would always be remembered.
I didn't have anything else planned. I mean, I'm happy that he got to tell the story in the end. I mean, he got to be his own story in the end. But I mean, I went into it. We joked, but I was like, the one that makes the most sense, more than anybody, because of how he's been built and mechanically what he does. The one who makes sense to die is Jude, because he's the tank. He is going to take a lot of fucking damage, and it also was full circle for his arc. He helped start this, and he'll end it, even if it means he has to go too.
But that's how he got redeemed.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't really have anything else planned because I really thought that was going to be, and that was okay. That was okay. That was a big possibility, and it was the expected possibility. Even when we didn't know if Duke could come back, Aegon would be able to be risen afterwards. I mean, we had talked and stuff, but I was like, even if there was a choice between Briar and Aegon, I told Camille, I was like, this is so meta, and I can never say this out loud because it wouldn't matter, but I was like, it has to be Briar because Aegon's done his job. Aegon has done what he needed to do, and Briar still has a job to do, or has a life to live, at least. So, yeah, I was prepared for that.
Mindy, what was the ending you hoped for? And it's actually same for Chris. What was the ending like if you could have written it out yourself? Because that's what I had. I guess that's what Aegon had. Like, would you have wanted a happily ever after, or did you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Now, that not happily ever after could look like a lot of different things. I think best case, I prepared myself for at least one of us to die. I don't know if I had like a best case scenario of who it was. Probably Charlie. But I think best case, I don't know. I think the reason I didn't necessarily want a happy ending was because this campaign was so heavy and layered that it felt like it needed a little bit of bittersweet, whatever that might have looked like. Now, it could have literally just looked like her breaking her vow and being devastated that she broke her vow, but everybody living happily ever after and getting to spend her life with Tyrion, which I think was probably my initial thoughts, was that eventually she would break her vow. Something would happen, she would break her vow, she would be devastated over that, but she would get to live her life with Tyrion. And it would have, I imagine, would have been a very quiet life. I don't think there's any desire to go exploring or adventuring. I think she would have liked to just, stayed and spent her life with her husband, had a family.
Rebuild their home.
Yeah. I think, obviously Aegon and Briar would have been welcomed like family if and when they wanted to join, but I always, for this particular campaign, I always anticipated something. I just wasn't sure what it was. In this case, it was Tyrion's death, which then led to, a bunch of other things. So, what are you gonna do?
What was the question? Oh, happy endings. I think, so I agree. I'm kind of piggybacking a touch off of what Mindy said, but to have a happy ending after a campaign like this would have been completely incongruent. It would have made zero sense for everybody, for everything to just work out. And I mean, hello, Briar, this game. I love a tragedy. Like, make it hurt, And so I think if we're saying that the happy ending is that none of the four had passed away, I would say that Briar probably wouldn't have needed to stay in Azmarin. If I'm just thinking about who she really was, because everybody, Aegon now has X, Charlie has Tyrion, and so Briar wouldn't really, I mean, it's not that she doesn't care about her friends, there isn't a strong, what does she need? She's not doing anything. And now she doesn't need to pickpocket anymore, right? Which was the whole reason she even landed here in the first place. So it was the most concentration of things, of little thievy jobs. So
Yeah, she was
Baby
trapped
crimes.
there more than the rest of them, right?
So she'd been there for like 10 years or so when all this started going down. But really trapped in the sense that she just had nowhere better to go. She couldn't go back home. Which is interesting, we never talked about Briar's stuff really. But she can't really go home. Which is fine. So I honestly think that if the chips had fallen in that way, Briar's best case scenario would have been to just see as much of the world as she could. When we snuck out of the city was the first time she'd ever seen like a huge body of water. Seeing things that she wouldn't have gotten a chance to see otherwise, and honestly probably holding on to this Reaper role as long as she could so that no one else had to do it, because she knows how fucking sucky it is to, as much as it's nice to be able to chit chat with people after they've gone, to have this much power is a burden. And it's not something she would have wanted to pass on to anyone. So probably waiting until the last possible time to have to pass it on, and trying to find someone that it wouldn't hurt them too much to do so would have really been all she would have been focused on. But she also would have had a lot of time, probably. So she probably would have just gone, had her little solo picnic. She would have just gone on her little merry way. Most likely. Again, I don't know if that's a happy ending, but that's probably what would have happened had things played out a little differently.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be happy.
Yeah, I don't think she was ever meant to
carry their...
Yeah. No, sorry.
No, I was going to say, is all these characters carry these scars, whether
Sure.
internal or external. They're never going to be fully happy.
Yeah. There was no... It's sad that the happiest ending she possibly could have is a result of what has happened. The best outcome for her, selfishly, is what has happened. Is that now she has a forever friend. Now she has, a family that will never leave her and will never, So anyway, it's I don't know. I love having characters that are like that, but...
Yeah, if Tyrion had lived, the only adventuring he would have done was to try to get more books to rebuild the library, and then if Briar was gone, he would have spent some time trying to find her. Probably would not have been successful because it's Briar.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't say Jew 100% was going to be making sure that library got rebuilt.
Oh.
And making sure he dedicated it to Tyrion. Yep.
Yes.
Sorry about it. That was happening. I was like, especially because we set it up that unknowingly that was planned in that flashback when she was like, and there's the temple, there's the library, and Temple Ayu burned down. He's like, let's do it.
I figured, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, no, that's one of his points as life happens.
I love it.
Would everybody like to provide any final or closing thoughts about Ashes?
Right before we get to that, I had one question for Camille.
Okay.
I guess a personal question that I was just curious. So I love imagery. I love symbolism. And I love the symbolism and the symbology of a trinity. I love that three. The three is very important. It can be very important. And something that I picked up and honed in on real quick was the trinity of judge, jury, and executioner. Gideon's the judge, Aegon's the executioner, Marilla, being the speaker of Erathis, was the jury. What happened to her? Because I was wondering.
That's up to Aegon. After Azmarin is retaken, those who were involved in the overthrowing of Azmarin to begin with, are put on trial. In fact, those some people face incredibly harsh punishments. Like, for example, 2 people were executed at minimum. 2 people were executed, and those were the matriarch and patriarch of the Declare family, because they were found to be the inciters of it. In fact, it was their oldest son Perseus who fought for the capital punishment for them. And So they were put on trial and found guilty and executed for their crimes against Azmarin. So
What about
anybody,
Charlie's dad?
was found not guilty of any wrongdoing. Essentially,
He's alive.
he's alive.
But probably very broken.
He's sad. He's
sad?
He's
That's fair.
sad.
He's just sad.
He's sad.
Same.
So essentially, if Aegon did not seek out justice for himself before the trials began, she would be put on trial and probably found guilty of her crimes, and there would be essentially a reckoning to find out what her punishment would be.
Yeah, for me, it was all about, because the fact that she wasn't there at the end said a lot to Aegon. Whether that was, and the question was what? Was that I'm too scared to be there?
Yes.
Was that I fucked up and I don't want to be there to watch this happen? Or was that I'm resigned to what is happening and I did what I had to do, and now I'm going to go off and do my own thing while he kills you. Like, so many things are going through his head, but she wasn't there.
For Marilla, whenever she found out that Hellbreaker had returned, I think she realized how fucked they were. Because the reason they took out Hellbreaker was because they received intelligence that he was the only one who could stop them. Which was why he was a target to begin with. And when it was found that whenever you revealed to her that Hellbreaker was back, she was like, "There's no way we're gonna succeed. I'm not putting my horses on this cart," essentially.
So for me, he obviously had a conversation with her, and I think he did still disown her, because he gave her a chance and she still said no. And on top of that, she actively, after saying no in that fight, tried to harm him. But he did say he will be the judge, which is Hellbreaker. So if Hellbreaker, and if the punishment was death, Hellbreaker was the one who's going to do it.
Yeah.
So I was curious. Like, what happened to her? I need to know what happened to, because she was also a key person in his backstory too. So I was like, what's happening? I need that final closure.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, yeah, she did, which meant a different speaker. But okay. Sorry, I can do final thoughts. I gotta think still.
Derek, you got any final thoughts?
I love each and every one of you. It's been my greatest honor to play alongside all of you. You're all very dear to me, and I cannot thank you enough for these 12 sessions. Mindy, I can't hear you.
I'm just really quiet sometimes when I have feelings, okay?
Feelings?
What are
Azmarin?
those? I don't know.
Sorry for making you cry a lot, by the way.
I don't feel feelings. I don't know what you're talking about. What is crying? Basically echoing what Derek said, thank you for sharing the table with me, with each other. I'm really proud of the story that we got to tell. I'm proud of the growth and the dynamic story, I guess, is really it that we got to tell together. It was a joy to play with you all every week, and yeah, I love you all. It's gonna be weird not waking up Saturday mornings to do this.
Yeah, it is.
But I can't wait to share the table with you all again in the future, whether it's all together or whatever it may be.
It's like awkward to just keep saying the same thing over and over, but I think it has been it's been a joy to interact and in such a challenging campaign. It's been, I think it's been fascinating and a joy to watch all of us kind of grow with these characters and adapt to this kind of a game, because there's not a lot of these games out there. There's not a lot of games where it's like the ending is built in and you're here to be sad but to enjoy it at the same time. You don't find that across the board, so I've enjoyed that. But like everybody has said, it's been wonderful to strengthen bonds, get to know people better that I had met before, get to know new people that I probably never would have met. And yeah, just being a part of this project has been immense in terms of my own personal growth and figuring out, who I am and what kind of game player I am. It's been wonderful, and I would love to sit down at a table again with y'all at some point, someday, in some kind of way. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not an early person. Look, the fact that I'm a full-time Twitch streamer means I can get up at 2:00 in the afternoon if I really want to, and work for the next 6 hours after that. But I was really happy and honored to be able to play this with all of you every week till we had like the breaks and stuff, obviously. But it was such a unique experience too, because as has been said, the things that we knew from the jump is that Azmarin fell and Azmarin will be liberated. What happens in between is what we're going to flesh out. So having that, even not knowing who was going to survive in the end, having that as just the backbone of this game was such an experience, because we knew that we were affecting history. We weren't just affecting, we weren't just making choices that, we probably will never see again. The things that we did might be seen in future Sinmarian campaigns in some way, shape, or form. So that was a really fun experience. And being able to do that with all of y'all was a lot of fun. And I'm very grateful to have played this sad boy. Well, not sad boy, Tyrion sad boy. Play this broody boy. Who I kind of joked in chat. It's kind of weird how he has the most almost cliche happy ending, when that definitely didn't read from the jump. And personally, especially because whatever this future thing is gonna be in the future, wink nudge. Kind of curious to see what GJ would be as far as his build. See what he could become. Also obviously Stefano, but he got Tyrion's happy ending. Kinda, yeah. But yeah, I'm happy I got to do this with y'all. Also, fucking Oathbreaker, she's a fuck. That's all.
Yeah, my final thoughts are how incredibly blown away I have constantly been by the players. Definitely challenged me to step up my game and be better always, and I love that. I'm always looking to improve, and I think that this game was just really incredible, and I think y'all should be really proud of what y'all have done here. That's it from me.
All right, then like I said, I have one question left. Usually this would be a group question. However, someone betrayed me the last fourth watch. And
I asked the question, Alex.
I do not forgive, nor do I forget. So, Derek Sword, what is the least conventional food item that Tyrion considers to be a sandwich? And we're not leaving the Zoom call till you answer.
Hope.
That's not even food.
Well,
it's not
thanks,
conventional,
everybody.
Alex. It's brunch. It's part of brunch.
It's been such
not
a
a
great fourth watch. Thank you all so much for coming.
Mindy, would you take it away with our warm fuzzies?
We did.
Yeah, we got Belchavez.
Belchavez.
We are Deborah.
Deborah.
And
Deborah?
We've got Rico. I still have a list.
Rick.
We have L Street Gaming.
Street
We have. Oh, Camille, we talk too much. Where's the list? Oh, we have Christina.
Christina.
We have Guildmaster Seth.
Guildmaster Seth.
Guildmaster Seth.
And we have Strix.
Strix.
Is that everybody?
Yeah, I think
El
so.
Chavez, Christina, L, Sev,
I think
Rick,
it's everybody.
Rico,
Yeah.
Deb. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, good job.
Right.
Let's go ahead and sign off.
Oh, hey, hi,
Oh
hello.
gosh.
Yeah, it's weird. Hi, I'm
Last
Mindy.
time.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Miss Mindykins. I stream stuff Sunday nights, Wednesday nights. You can find me here Monday nights on Fate's Chosen, where we just found this weird angel guy in the hells. Totally unrelated to what's happening here. Totally unrelated. You can also, tomorrow morning at sometime in the time, you can find me on Eva Sarate's channel playing in a 10 Candles game, part 1 of 2, run by Anik, where I'm going to feel feelings, and that's all I really do. My favorite part of today in this campaign was getting to play with all these fantastic, amazing people and getting to know them better. I love you all.
Love you, Mindy.
Hi, everybody. My name's Derek Sword. If you want to find me and my projects anywhere, the best place is on Twitter. I'm at dsword16. I had the great honor of playing Tyrion Curiadis in this wonderful, wonderful campaign with these amazing people. Some of my other projects, should you want to see me doing more dumb shit for love, different kinds of love, but still. On Friday nights, I'm on Graham Cracker's channel where I play a swampy bugbear named Griaz, who is more of like a buddy kind of love. I don't think this is going to involve love, but I am also on Eva Sarate's channel on the 30th at noon EST for a Mothership game. So that'll be more space horror than smooches. But speaking of smooches, I am also the co-host of the podcast Monster Crush. So if you enjoy smooching monsters and learning about cryptids and paranormal entities and all that sort of thing, you can find that wherever podcasts are found. Again, that's Monster Crush with my co-host Heavenly and I. And my favorite part of this, yeah, it's you amazing folks. It also was like learning where everybody goes because I knew where Tyrion ended up. But man, yeah, Mindy, the reveals on Charlie, the reveals on Aegon, on Briar, man. Okay. And least conventional sandwich, fine, Alex. It's a bagel, a whole bagel with a hot dog inside, in the hole. Least conventional sandwich. There you go.
That's fair. I respect that.
I figured you would.
Wow. I'll go. Hi.
Hello that.
The fuck? Don't want. Hi, I'm Omega, also known as Critical Bard. Critical Bard across all social media channels. I have been once Jude Laurent, the Oathbreaker Paladin, now Aegon Delavan, Dad, and Paladin of Redemption, along with his partner, X. I don't know exactly what kind of sorcerer they are, but they're a good sorcerer. And DJ. Anywho, dad and a daddy, period. Yeah, I mean, you can find me many places. Again, Critical Bard everywhere. I don't have too much to really boost other than the fact that February, obviously, is Black History Month. Support a Black person all year, not just during this month. However, there is a frick ton that I am doing in February, so just stay tuned. Some of it's not even announced yet. That's how, and a lot of it deals with Twitch itself. So just be on the lookout for that. I do want to shout out on February 7th, I'll be joining Saving Throw Show for a one shot of New Pantheon Academia for raising money for the Trevor Project. There's 3 different games happening that day, and I'm in the middle. I'm their special guest, and I'm very excited about that because we all have divinity based on gods, and I kind of don't want to spoil who the god is, but just know that every story is important. That's the hint. Anywho, yeah. Other than that, just keep looking out on all the things that I do. I can't even think of one specific thing right now. Anything else I'm missing? Okay. My favorite moment, yeah, obviously, yeah, being here with y'all and just enjoying this time with each and every one of you. We all created very thought out and poignant characters, but more importantly, we all created genuine connections within these characters, and it allowed for us to have such a strong bond in the end. And though shout out to Tyrion, he's rest in peace. We hopefully get him back. It was still a pleasure being able to battle these devils out of this town with y'all. That's me.
Okay.
And I still don't have a command.
We'll get you one one day.
One day.
Maybe someday. In the days of
Never.
Stephanos kin. Hi, I am Chris. My favorite thing is hanging out. And if you would like to do so alongside me, you can find me doing all kinds of stuff. I will be joining Mindy tomorrow at the table. I know I'm like, boo-hoo, but then I'm gonna see you in the morning. We'll be joining Mindy in this 2-part 10 Candles game, in which my friends continue to try to make me cry, but I will not break. I am involved in a lot of really cool things. The Faeforge Academy is one of my newest projects. Those episodes drop every Friday. Shout out to our fallen friend, the Bad DM, who will remain Curian in our hearts forever. On this same channel, starting in February, I will be part of a super cool campaign run by Dr. Petrichor, Luke, who we love very much, in a desert-themed campaign in which I probably won't be as tragic, but that's a lie. Who knows? But yeah, in addition to many things, some not yet announced yet. So just come hang out with me. You can find me on Twitter at Kiss of Hemlock, or floating around various Discords. You know, let's be friends. My favorite thing, gosh, because we didn't just spend an hour talking about our favorite things. Besides the friendships along the way, I would say my favorite thing was watching a group of talented people become more talented. Watching a group of very, incredible people somehow become a little bit more incredible. I love showing up every week and being surprised and being challenged, and
God damn it.
The real treasure, spoken from beyond. The real treasure was the friends we buried along the way, and that's the truth.
Everybody loves buried treasure. Fuck Alex.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a joy to improve my craft, but to do so alongside such a great group of people, and I will see all of you around, I'm sure.
Thank you so much, Chris. I'm Camille. I was the dungeon master for this game. It was an absolute honor and a joy and a privilege to DM for these fine role players. A bit of a dream team right here. You can find me on Twitter at CamilleDoesDND. You can also find the channel on Twitter at OpenTheNumber4Adventure. On February 6th, I will be guesting in Wily Hobbit's Jasper's Game Day Ambassador game, run by Fellowship of the Tables. You can catch me there at 4:00 p.m. I want to say that's Eastern time. I will make an announcement. It'll go to promotions. So I will be playing on another channel that's not open for adventure. It's gonna be wild. I've also got some more upcoming projects where I will be a player. I'm going to be spending some time at the table on the other side of the screen in the next few months. My favorite part was revealing everybody's fun backstories today, especially Mindy's, because I think hers, or Charlie's, because hers had the most twists and I think was the most shocking. So that was a lot of fun to reveal. Yeah, if you like the way I DM, you can catch me DMing Mondays and Sundays at 3 p.m. Central and Mondays at 6:30 p.m. Central as we progress in two very interesting and very different campaigns. And last but not least...
Hi, everybody. What the fuck is my hair doing? I'm sorry.
It looks great.
You lie. Anyway, hi everybody. My name is Alex. You can find me on Twitter at axolotlcure. When I am not hosting these Fourth Watches, you can find me running a game of Numenera, which is a science fantasy game that takes place on planet Earth 1 billion years in the future. I do that starting again on February 6th. So right after you catch Camille's charity game, you can hop right back over to Open for Adventure and watch some real cool science fantasy stuff with some real cool people who I believe at least a few of which are in chat. Let's see. I also might be doing something else on this channel real soon, but I have no idea if that's gonna end up happening. So we'll see about that. But also might not.
Big F.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, I run a lot of games on this channel. I play on the Sunday game that Camille runs. It's great. I'm here all the time and I fucking love it. And yeah, that's all I got. Favorite part of the session was finally getting an answer out of
Oh
Derek
my god.
about the sandwich. Yeah, I've been waiting on that one for a long time.
All right, y'all. Catch you next time. Bye, everybody.